So, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, whenever you listen to this. This is Matthew Bailey, alongside my critic companion in crime, Ricardo Medina,
Hello.
and special guest, Sommerleigh Pollonais,
Hi guys.
Alice Oscura,
Hi guys, Merry Christmas.
CC Lilford.
Happy Life Day to you all.
See what you did there. And Tracy Hutchings.
Hey people, good afternoon or morning or whatever.
Yes. Well, whenever. And this is the season 6. Yes, the season 6 finale of Bears Beats and Bailey. And I believe this is actually the first time where it's going to be a group collab, because over the past 5 seasons, it's just been me and Ricardo just, talking about shows that we love and hate and whatnot, right? But in this case, just to kick things off, 2020 was a rough year for all of us. It just had I had our blood boiling with every second of every day of every week and whatnot. But I would say in my case, it just more or less pushed me to just move forward. You know what I mean? Just do more things, learn more things as well too. So I actually pretty much reached out to more people, through this program here. So I reached out to Tracy as well. I reached out to Alice. You know what I mean? Both of them have collaborated with our with my Halloween special.
Yep.
Yeah. And in terms of output, boy, you know what I mean? I just did a lot, you know what I mean? A lot of retrospect reviews, some of which involved, CC, Summer as well. And yeah, it was just a lot of stuff. But the downside is though, and we'll get to this later on in the episode, is that there were lots of movies that we were looking forward to, and just because of COVID,
Yeah.
they were just pushed back, you know what I mean? And that was just a huge disappointment. So
Yeah.
we had no choice, you know what I mean? Some of us looked to older films, some looked to films that, we heard about, but we just didn't get the time to check them out. In my case, streaming sites and whatnot, or looking at other, online, movie review articles and whatnot, seeing what works, you know what I mean? What are the best films out there right now they could check out. So yeah, out of that, I was able to compile, the following list. So in this episode, we're we're gonna kick things off basically with the top 10 TV shows of 2020. I'll do 10. I don't know about you guys. Afterwards, I'll do top movies I wish I saw in 2020, but they just didn't come out in 2020. Afterwards will be in my case, top 10 worst movies of 2020. Because yes, as much as I avoided the horrible films out there, and yeah, there was some terrible films out there. Some, unfortunately, I saw. So yeah, like in this case, like in any normal year, I would have just sought out those films because like I don't know, I'm a sucker for opinions. Like when 10 people tell me, "Boy, the show horrible," I would go and see for myself just so I could be the 11th person. I'm that type of guy now. But in this case, I was like, all right, I saw 10, and this was like me compiling the list. I could say basically within the last quarter of the year. I was like, no, I don't need to watch anything bad again for the year. These 10 are enough. These 10 are enough. I just want to
Yeah.
get best stuff, right? So in the case of best stuff, for the first time ever, I'm gonna do top 20 best movies of the year. Some of which would have been honorable mentions, if times were better. But they still stood out to me, right? And I still think that they deserve some credit, right? And also, there'll be some honorable mentions for that as well. So, kicking things off, top 10 TV shows. So I'll just kind of run through them quickly. Well, before I start, any of you guys have your respective lists, or it's just whatever comes to mind?
Yeah, for me, is
Yeah, I wrote down
yeah. Go ahead,
stuff.
Alice.
Oh no, I was just saying that I just wrote down some stuff and I'll try to keep it very short because there's a lot of us a lot for us to go through.
Right.
All right, fair,
Yeah.
fair enough. What
Yeah.
about you, Ricardo?
Yeah, for me, I've just top 10 best things. For me in general, just shows. They're mostly movies, so they count as movies, I'll imagine. But then I have top. And that's of honorable mentions. It's just a general list of all the stuff that I like for the year. That was pretty good, and just worth mentioning. But there's some TV shows, some movies. To me, everything was kind of like a movie anyway. Like even the series was just long movies.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah,
why,
Yes.
that's why
you're right.
that's why it didn't feel like a distinction anyway. So anyway, whatever. So you'll
Yeah.
get to them when we get to them.
All right. Tracy, do you have any TV shows like in mind? Well, I just want to kick off mine first. I just want to know if you have your own list or not.
So my list is best and worst period. So just like Ricardo, there are some television pieces that are there with film and well movies and that kind of stuff. So I can just go through it like later because some of them are like television stuff that I find are a little bit more cinematic and I liked it and it was great and that
Yeah.
kind of propelled me. And then a lot of good few films because putting this list together, I realized shit, I actually watched stuff that came out this year. I didn't watch as much as I would have liked, but I realized I still had a list. So I was like, okay, cool. So it'll be a best and worst mix with some honorable mentions. I think I have like 9 honorable mentions
Right.
here. So
Oh,
yeah,
okay. Well, you and Ricardo, you all just hold on to those lists, right?
yeah, that's
Uh,
cool.
yeah. Summer, do you have any? Do you have a top? Do you have a best TV shows list on you or no?
Yes, I do. It's in no particular order because that was just a lot of work to try to do. But I do have a best of list, no worst of for television because I mean it's television. I
Yeah.
just kind of stuck with the ones that made a good impact this year, and I thought would be worth following up on. And I just have 17 of them. No
Right.
particular, in no particular order.
All right.
Sweet.
And last but not least, CC, do you have a do you have a top TV show list at all?
I do not. In a year where I watched like quite ravenously, which was quite nice, but at the same time it was mostly movies, and the few shows I kind of messed myself up with TV shows because I decided I would try and get through Star Trek Deep Space Nine, which is great, but that's consumed all of my show time. So
I haven't started. I know. I suck.
I watched I watched the pilots for Watchmen, Lovecraft Country,
Right.
and what was there was another like really big one, and like I want to try and watch more of those at some point, but for the most part, I was not able to get through TV shows. No, God, my film watching this year was insane. I think last time I checked, it was over something like 300.
Right.
Oh, well done,
Oh,
dude.
okay, nice.
Wow.
All right. Well, no problem, no problem. Okay, so I'll just run through my TV show list, right, in no particular order. But honorable mentions, I will give to season 4 of HBO's Insecure. Really dug that season.
Right. Yeah, man.
Mhm.
We talked about
Great.
it. Raised by Wolves, from
Okay.
HBO. Probably one of the most ambitious TV shows I've seen all year. Like, so
Yeah, for
ambitious,
sure.
it's kind of
Love it.
frightening actually. Upload. This is from Amazon Prime. Really interesting show that
Yeah.
has this sort of technical look at the afterlife. It was pretty dope. Black Lightning season 3. I was like, oh my god, boy, this season stepped up. You know what I mean? Even before I got to the Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover, but after that point, it was just like, wow. Like I would say it like this. It had not Kevin Hart, Wayne Brady.
Right.
He's
Yeah.
one of the best villains I've seen, like on TV. One of the most intimidating villains ever. Like I was Wayne Brady, you know what I mean? It was awesome.
Yeah.
Not since Dave Chappelle bit, right?
Yeah, no, that's his Chappelle show. Like, wow. The Innocence Files. This was a docudrama series on Netflix. It talked about certain minorities being arrested for,
Right. Yeah.
wrongfully accused and arrested for crimes. Really dope. HBO's Atlanta's Missing and Murder. This was a
Right.
five-part
Yeah.
documentary that talked about the 1979 to 81 disappearances and murders of these kids in Atlanta. Really powerful stuff. And last but not least, season 3, technically, if you want to call it that, even though the second half is coming next month. Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. I really
Right.
love how this season really stepped up here. I know that what we're gonna get next month is the last, but well, I mean, all good things have to come to an end, right? So I guess that's how it is. So, just running through top 10 TV shows list quickly, right? In no particular order. So please don't get mad if your favorite show is low on your list, right? So, number 10, HBO and BBC One's I May Destroy You.
Right.
Great
Yeah.
series featuring
Yes.
Keller
Excellent.
Cole. Great, powerful series as well. It's only 10 episodes. I doubt we're going to get a season 2 because the show pretty much wraps up the way it does. But
Right.
yeah, it's a great show, even though the subject material is rather rough, but it's great, right? Number 9, Undertaker: The Last Ride. This was
Yeah.
a WWE documentary series
Hmm.
about the legendary wrestler The Undertaker, and I would say even if you're not a fan of wrestling, this documentary is great, because it just touches on, yeah, just the life and times of this guy, what I mean, how he built on this character and his legacy, and how he was able to go off with a bang literally this year, what I mean, with WrestleMania, despite the COVID-19 situation. But yeah, I mean, if you're a fan or if you're just not into wrestling, I would still recommend checking it out. But if you're a hardcore fan, yeah, it's great, right? Number 8, forgive me for having this low, The Queen's Gambit. Yes,
Okay.
this is the
Yeah.
miniseries that everybody loved. You know what I mean? It's like, oh my god, chess, right? But for me, it was just the great performance by Anya Taylor-Joy. I mean, I always loved her in terms of just being an actress, but here she just knocked it out of the park, too. And I never thought I'd see a series about a chess player who has to deal with alcoholism. You know what I mean? It was and drug abuse, sorry, to an extent. I was like, what? You know what I mean? I did see that coming, right? But other than
Right.
that, it just more or less. One good thing it did, it more or less got people into chess. So more people want to get into chess now because they saw the show here. So that's really amazing.
Right.
I don't think I'm gonna get to chess in a hurry though. But at least this series here made it great, right? So highly recommend it. Check it out. Slightly on the overrated end of things, but it's dope, right? Number 7, a season of a show that I didn't think was going to be this excellent, but The Umbrella Academy.
Yep.
Right.
I was like,
And
what? What? Season just stepped up though, and essentially it did the whole X-Men Days of Future Past thing where they do the sort of reset button. They had to go back to the past, that kind of thing. But out
Yeah.
of that, though, they just craft these great stories, these great, subplots and whatnot. Got the best out of the actors and the characters and whatnot, and just told this great story, though. While I felt that the first season was a little too navel gazing, this one was like, all right, we going to do something. We're going to make this thing fresh and vibrant and entertaining as hell, and that's why I got here. So yeah, this season really surprised me here, boy. Number 6, the Fresh Prince of Bel Air reunion, boy.
Right. Yeah.
That one got to me. It hit me in the feels. I mean, I'm a huge fan of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Most of us grew up on it. But just seeing these actors return after the show ended in 1996 was great. Seeing Will Smith reconcile pretty much with Janet Hubert, you know what I mean, was great
Yeah.
as well. And then, of course, the tribute to the late, great James Avery was just so powerful. It just hits you in the gut. And yeah, it was just nice just seeing these actors just reunite and just tell all these stories and whatnot. And yeah, I will tell you, if you haven't seen it before, make sure to have a box of tissues nearby because you will be
mm,
crying. Number 5, the final season of BoJack Horseman. Boy.
Yes. Sure.
Love
Yeah.
this final season.
hey,
Love the show as a whole. It's one of the best shows I've ever seen, though. And with this final season, it more or less asks the question, or at least attempts to answer the question of the shows like this and Sopranos always asks, what I mean, is someone who who does the bad or who does the wrong things or who have done bad things in the past, are they worthy of redemption? And basically we got that through the character of BoJack Horseman, just the situations he went through and just the stuff that he learned about life. And yeah, storytelling was great, voice acting was great as well. The ending of the series finale is one of the best I've ever seen in TV period. So if you've never been on board with BoJack Horseman, jump into it as soon as. It's not an easy watch, but it's worth checking out. I see it's now on Comedy Central for some reason, so I'm like, all right, well,
Yeah.
cool,
Well,
Right.
cool, all right, nice. Anyway, number 4, The Last Dance. Way.
right.
As
Yeah.
someone who hasn't grown up on, all things 90s basketball, though, I was just enthralled by everything, though, and yeah, it just told the story of say Jackson for a sec, Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls and their rise in the 90s and whatnot. It it went in deep, I mean, told you all these stories, a majority of which, if you're a basketball nerd, you will know about already. But for me, it's like, wow, I didn't know all this stuff. I didn't know all this stuff. You know what I mean? And they even shout out Kobe Bryant as well, to rest in peace to Kobe. But yeah, though, it was just such a dense and well structured and well layered, sorry, heavily layered, but just entertaining as hell docu series. I really recommend you check that out. Speaking of documentaries, number 3, the docu series that united the world, boy, during
And
COVID-19. Tiger King.
Oh God.
I knew what you were gonna
Kidnapping
say
Right.
before you
Right.
said it.
From the time.
The world was united for this show, boy. We
Oh
were
boy.
united. It was like, yes, Joe Exotic. I need to watch all 6 episodes, boy. I'll never forget watching this for the first time. I was like, wow, this Joe guy, man. This Joe guy is something, eh? But
Yeah.
I'll never forget that. I brought this up in the review, eh? Near the end of episode 2. And he mentioned, well, his rival, right? And we all like, okay, well, she do this thing, that. And oh well, yeah, her she probably kill her husband, like, and it just kind of stops there. What do we mean? We mean she killed she husband? It's like, oh well, yeah, you know what I mean? Her husband fell over and got eaten by tigers. What? You didn't know that? And it just stops at that point. And you're like, what? Let me see what happens
Yeah,
next. Pull up
yeah.
episode 3. What?
That was a series.
But yeah, boy, that was a series,
You
boy.
couldn't write a movie like Tiger King. You really couldn't. You could come up with that insanity.
Yeah, boy.
Mm.
Wow. That though, if you haven't seen it, if for those who haven't seen it, it is some Coen Brothers shit.
That's
No,
the
it's
perfect
level Coen
description.
Brothers shit. Oh my god. Have betrayal, it have jealousy, envy, backbiting, all kind of stuff. This involved these guys who owning exotic animals and like legally they should be doing that. But anyway, what I mean, it entertained us, it moved us, it shocked us, kind of creeped us out a bit, and it was a worldwide phenomenon. And yeah, I believe we're supposed to be getting a movie for it, featuring
Nick Cage?
Nick Cage as Joe Exotic. I can't wait to see
Oh,
that. Well,
God.
if it is done, if that's happened.
If
Right.
that does happen, I will be here for it because that is like peak Nick Cage ishness.
Right?
I'm like, yeah.
One certain
That
thing
is-
is Nick Cage.
Yeah,
He's just do these crazy kind of roles. I don't know.
it's something that he can do. Nobody else could do it like he does. You know what I mean?
Man,
Yeah,
nobody
Yeah,
could
that's,
be insane like Nick.
yeah,
Right.
boy.
I don't
Uh,
think it's even insanity. I feel like Nick Cage sees the world in a completely unique way to everyone else, and it just shows in his performances.
Yeah, that it does. That it does. I'm gonna come to Nick Cage later on, right? Number 2 and 1, I had to kind of wrestle between the two. As far as I'm concerned, I could pretty much flip them any way you want. But for now, number 2 will be season 2 of The Boys. Really dug the season
Yeah.
here. Really how they step things up in terms of characterization, in terms of world building, in making us load Homelander, but at the same time, kind of watch him like. Nah, but you just need some love, Joe. You just need like you just need like a pat in the back, like you know what? You really don't need to try so hard, bro. Like just dial it back a bit. But yeah, when they took the story, when they took the characters, was great. I mean, the action is still over the top and violent. I mean, it's still lots of cussing and whatnot. But and they dropped one of my favorite lines, like just this quote that I live by. I can't really say it on air because it might have kids listening too, but yeah, it's words to live by. All I'll say is don't be dash
Yeah.
dash dash dash.
Yep,
With a dash.
yep,
That
yep,
that
yep.
to me
Right.
is the message of The Boys, right? Just don't
Right.
be that. Right? But yeah, really love this season here. And number 1, you may call me a bandwagonist, but sorry, Mando boy, season 2 of Mando. Yes, I know I could kind of flip it, you know what I mean? Yes. But yes, Mandalorian season 2 just blew me away, though. I loved, it pretty much was exactly what we got with the first season, but just with, more thrills, you know what I mean? Just more surprises, right? More callbacks to the original trilogies and whatnot. And of course, the season finale, which had the internet literally going nuts. The fake aside, I mean, I'll let that slide, but everything else though was just amazing. Of course, just seeing Mandalorian do his thing. Of course, Baby Yoda doing his thing, find out his name for the first time.
Grogu.
Seeing Ahsoka, you know what I mean, played by Rosario Dawson, and it was just awesomeness, just awesomeness from start to end, man. So yeah, jump on the bandwagon if you haven't already. Mandalorian, right? So that's my number 1.
Yeah.
Summer. Favorite
Okay.
TV shows.
Well, very quick honorable mentions. I'm just gonna say, if you love horror, you have to see 30 Coins. It's only 4 episodes out, and it had me screaming "What the" at my television for the entire time. So it's awesome.
That's
Um,
that's from what streaming site or
it's
network.
Honestly, it's from the Jack Sparrow site of networks. I can't really tell you, right? But
The Jack Sparrow
it
site of networks.
yes, Jack,
Yeah,
That's
I
random
understand
name,
what Summer's doing. Yeah.
right? But it's called 30 Coins and it's awesome. It's a Spanish language horror based television series and it's going
Right.
really well. Big Mouth season 3, I think it is. We're
Yeah.
into.
Yeah,
I'm
I've been
still
meaning to
enjoying
jump
that.
into that show, way.
Yeah.
Just time is the problem.
And his Dark Materials, it's quite
Right.
solid. I'm enjoying that as well. And I actually rewatched the entire The Mentalist, and I forgot how much fun that was. So I just had to bring that up. For
Okay,
top
okay.
television shows, in no particular order, guys, I have 17 Raised by Wolves.
Yeah.
Nice, nice, nice,
As
nice.
Martin said, it was so ambitious and it was like nothing he had really ever seen done before. So props to them. My number 16, Perry Mason. I enjoyed
Right.
Mm.
that from beginning to end. That was an
Missed that one.
fantastic detective thriller. And if you haven't seen it, you should definitely check it out. Um, Number 15, Yellowstone season 3. I adore this show, and I've never been a huge Kevin Costner fan until I saw this show. So this is just I think if cowboys were in the mafia, that sort of thing. There's really Yellowstone is just
Nice.
something really different. Number 14,
Oh,
sorry, was
14. Oops.
Snowpiercer. Um, I didn't think they could adapt that movie that well, and honestly, that is a fantastic outing. I can't wait to see what they do with the next season.
All right.
Um, my number 13 has actually been cancelled, sadly, but I thought that it was one of the best slow burn adaptations of a Stephen King novel that I've seen so far, and it's called The Outsider.
Okay.
It's very different. And again, I think it's more cohesive than Castle Rock, but it's such a slow burn that I can see why people would not have gotten into it. But it's creepy. It works on you, and if you stick it out, the payoff is really good.
Nice.
Um, my number 12 was the Umbrella Academy season 2. I have
Yes,
to
yes,
agree
yes.
that was a really great step up, and it still has that energy, and I'm still excited to see where they go with it. My number 11 was Eli Roth's History of Horror. There are
Mm.
2 seasons out
Missed
so
that one.
far. He does a fantastic job. It's kind of like I think that Bravo did a 100 top scariest moments of all time in cinema. Here, what he's doing is basically breaking down each genre by each episode. So it's really fun to watch and it's really well executed. My number 10 was the Terror season 2. I thought that was amazing, guys.
Mm.
I mean, looking at the Japanese internment camp stuff that happened in the US and putting a horror tilt on that it was exceptional. And it was a huge step up for me from season 1, which I thought was a bit too slow. My number 9 was Lucifer, season 5. I think Netflix getting Lucifer was a big win, not just for the show, but for the viewers. The quality really stepped up, and in terms of what they could get away with on television, it's Netflix, so they only have one more season to go. But I think they're doing a fantastic job, and I could live with one more season. I don't think the show has that much else to offer, but yeah, it was a good outing. My number 8 was The Haunting of Bly Manor, and I know that's divisive
Okay.
for some people. I
Mhm.
still think Hill House is the best, but Bly Manor,
Yeah.
it's a wonderful deconstruction of what grief and loss and regret can do to you, and it's creepy as hell. So yeah. My number 7 was The Mandalorian. Now, like I
Nice.
All right.
in no particular order, guys, but yes, I'm right there with you, Matthew. It's not bandwagonist because it's good, it's not a
Yeah.
matter of agreeing. It's not like it's a bad show or anything. So it's still delivering, and sadly for Disney Plus, it's one of 2 good shows they have. So hopefully they will find
Listen,
more
they have
content
they
to
have
put
plenty
out.
coming, right? So
Oh
that,
boy.
that is true. That's true.
they drop their bombs yet.
Right. My number 6 was The Boys. Yes, I am enjoying the hell out of this. I've read all the comics and the graphic novels and everything with this, and it keeps living up to everything that I've read. So good on them. My number 5 was Creep Show.
Right.
Um,
Okay.
I don't know
Okay.
if you guys
Okay.
have seen that. Yeah, it every episode feels like a really well contained horror movie. So if you're a fan of horror, especially horror anthology, I would say I think it was like 6 episodes and 5 of them were fantastic. So good on them. My number 4 was the Agents of Shield finale season, guys.
Oh.
I missed that.
Yeah,
I'm
I
so far behind though, but
it
yeah.
was a
Yeah.
strong
Pretty
send
good.
off. It didn't
Yeah.
disappoint at all for me, and I love how they finished it off. So we've had so many disappointments with like Game of Thrones and all that stuff. It was nice to see them stick the landing.
Yeah.
My number 3 was Lovecraft Country.
Right.
Uneven,
Okay.
but
Okay.
still,
Yeah.
yeah, uneven, but still, I was there with them from beginning
Yeah.
to end. So good on them. My number 2 was What We Do in the Shadows.
Right.
Still
Guys,
have to get to
this
that.
this show is so
That was
damn
one of
good.
those
You
also.
really, really need to watch this.
Is
It's Taika Waititi at his best, and I mean, there's no describing this show. You just have to see it and experience it yourself. And my number 1, Star Trek Discovery season 3. I love
Wow.
Okay.
this.
Really?
Okay.
I
Is it
thought
done?
it was such a huge
Is it
step
done?
up.
Is it
Yeah,
done?
I know it isn't done, but I've given it the win because it nearly there. I think
Yeah.
it was fantastic. They
Yeah. It was
fixed
pretty
their
good
course
so far.
corrected on so much stuff, and
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like they're listening to the fans, they're listening to the feedback, and they're
Right.
giving us something truly wonderful. So that was my number 1.
Wow. Very surprising. It seems.
All right. Well, Ricardo, and hopefully me, we could share our thoughts on season 3 come
Right.
next
Yeah.
month slash next
Yeah.
year.
That's it. That's 2
Yep.
more episodes. Good. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Alice, if you don't mind
Yeah.
sharing your favorite TV shows list. If
Okay.
you have any honorable mentions, take them away.
Okay. I really don't have any honorable mentions. To be honest with you, I really didn't focus this year on too many series. I was more focused on like movies and so on. Um, and I tried to stay away from anything that would kind of make me feel depressed.
Yeah,
oh mood.
I hear you. I hear you.
this year
Yeah.
is like that.
Yeah. So I only have 10 TV series on my list, right? A lot of them I have reviewed on Dark Atlas reviews already, but the gist of it is as in no particular order as well, guys, right? Um, my first one on the list is an Egyptian horror series that was released on Netflix called Paranormal.
Mhm.
It's a short series. It's only 6 parts, and it's based on a doctor who has a talent for the paranormal, and it's interesting. It's actually based on a real series of novels, and it's very interesting, and it ends on an extremely high note. Very promising. I really hope that they have a season 2. It was very, very captivating. I binged watched that in one afternoon, in one sitting, because it was so interesting.
Okay,
Um,
nice, nice.
yeah. My second one on the list is actually a Korean drama series called It's Okay to Not Be Okay. Um,
I love the title.
yeah. Basically that's the saying that they would tell people in a mental institution. It's in a song that the head doctor would make all the patients sing at a certain point in the day, because a lot of them suffer from depression and certain personality disorders. And the main person, who is a famous Korean author of children's books, very morbid children's books, she has an anti-social personality disorder where it looks like she doesn't have like feelings, so her face is very hard and stuff like that. And the one person that she saved when she was a little girl, a boy, she meets him. She has a chance meeting when they're older, and well, fall in love with each other and all that kind of stuff. So at the end of it, it's not really that she has that personality disorder. It was how her mother used to kind of torture her when she was a little girl, kind of thing. No, gave her a different kind of disorder, and he was a caretaker at the mental institution where they used to sing the song "It's Okay to Not Be Okay," and he actually helps her through it, even though he has his own personal demons, kind of thing. It's only 16 episodes long, which is very short for a Korean drama series. So I enjoyed it a lot. Um, the other one on my list is Sweet Magnolias. Um, basically, it's this group of friends. I really like the relationship between a group of friends because they've known each other since kindergarten days. It's released on Netflix, by the way, and it's already been grabbed up for a season 2. Ends very, very strong. I liked the friendship dynamic of it and the different storylines of the characters. Very, very well done. Um, yeah, it's just a nice show that you could watch with a group of friends, and it gives you that nice feel good kind of thing, which is what you really want to be feeling for this year already.
Right.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Yeah. The other one on my list, like Matthew, Tiger King,
Nice.
Murder, Mayhem, and Madness. And yeah, that load of craziness, it was just wow. It was just crazy. I can't say that I'm too excited about the movie because I agree with Summer that it's going to be very difficult to put all that madness into one movie. What I did get to do is I kind of concluded watching the series by looking at the Ghost Adventures Halloween special, where they
Mhm.
actually got to go and investigate the Joe Exotic Zoo, and
Oh,
they
right,
found
right, right.
some.
I missed that episode actually.
Yeah, they found some pretty creepy stuff. I reviewed it if you want to read it, Matt. It's on Red Mango Reviews as well. They found some
Right.
pretty creepy stuff that actually got the investigation reopened because they had cadaver dogs go and sniff and find that there are human remains buried in this particular area where a 17-foot alligator used to be.
Oh God.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
Oh
I
God.
like to think of
Hmm.
that special as the culmination of the entire Tiger King series, in
Right.
that there is some stuff there that has not been spoken about.
Uh,
So there's that. 50 States of Fright is my other
Oh yeah,
choice.
that was a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, I really enjoy that. The episodes are very short. It's very quick to get through. There were 2 seasons. Each episode represents a story from a state. Some of them were way out there, a few of them were way out there, but for the most part, they were very enjoyable and super creepy. Um, my other one on the list is The Crown, season 4.
Mm.
I
Right.
would have to
Tracy,
say,
Tracy, another one, another one.
yeah. No, well, Tracy knows because I was teasing him back and forth as well too. Because that one is one of my favorite seasons of the entire bunch. I've been on the
Yes.
Crown bandwagon from the get go, and I enjoyed the heck out of this one. And I know that there's a lot of backlash from the royal family. I mean, who's to say if I wasn't part of the Windsor family, I would feel how if my life was kind of plastered on the TV, and everybody has their own opinion and stuff about what really happened between the
Mhm.
whole Camilla, Charles, Diana dynamic thing.
right.
So yeah, if you're a big fan of the royal family and you want to see some confusion, for sure, check out
Check
drama
it out.
galore.
All right, all right.
The other one on my list is Unsolved Mysteries. Season 2 was released
Oh,
on Netflix.
yeah. I heard that was
Mhm.
actually pretty good though. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. It was.
Yeah.
There are some
I'm
really
also hearing that it actually helped them solve some cases, some very cold cases were actually
yeah,
solved because of it. So good on them.
yeah, yeah. Because actually, at the end of each episode, everyone that has been unsolved, they would give the information like, if you see whatever, whatever, please contact this particular hotline. And the ones that have been solved, they will say, oh, after a few months of airing this episode, whatever happened, and they would give you, so you'd have a sense of closure. And some of the mysteries are very creepy. They cover a very wide base, including alien abduction as well too.
What the?
Yeah.
Well, all
Yeah,
right.
they cover
Yeah.
alien
Yeah,
abduction as
this
well too.
that was a thing with the old Unsolved Mystery series, right? I believe so. It
Yeah.
wasn't just murders or kidnappings, right, or disappearances.
No, no,
Right.
and they kind of kept that in line, and they have their interviews and so on. But one, I just have to make an honorable mention to here. The one of the creepiest episodes was one where a count, a bankrupt count, I should say, mention, murdered his entire family and managed to escape. And to this day, they have not found him. They
Oh God.
suspect, yeah, they suspect that he may be hiding in Argentina, which is a little too close for comfort. But I don't know why that episode creeped me the heck out. That this man just slaughtered his entire family, including the two family dogs, and I was like,
Oh
ugh.
my god.
What?
Yeah, and he buried them
Wow.
under the back stairs in the house. Yeah.
Oh.
God.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty creepy. Um, the other one on my list is The Undoing, which is the Nicole Kidman, Hugh Grant
Mm-hmm.
HBO miniseries that dropped pretty recently.
Mm-hmm.
Nicole Kidman as my queen of thriller, as usual. She came out with a bang and shows that she's totally immortal because I don't see that woman aging at all. She and her famous
I
strawberry blonde curly hair.
I know, right?
Yeah, I don't know what deal she make, but that woman just not aging. But she was epic in The Undoing, and Hugh Grant as the villain was, whew, he was a different level of creepy in that one. And I know from online and other people that I've spoken to, they had issues with how the whole series was concluded,
Mm-hmm.
but I honestly didn't have a problem. I found that the way that it was concluded was smooth and epic, and I totally enjoyed it from beginning to end. I was a bit disappointed that they kind of made my boy Edgar Ramirez a bit of a tool, but he was a detective that was out to solve a mystery, so I could understand why they made him like that. So I overlooked that, and he wasn't the focal point of the entire series anyway. um, the other one on my list is Hunters, which I know is a series that
I
kind of
enjoyed that
has.
as well. I
Oh,
You
enjoyed
so
that
enjoyed
one
so
it,
as
Tom?
well.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I saw.
it was good.
Yeah, I saw some people didn't give it good reviews, and but I was like,
But
I
is
liked
it
it.
content? Is it subject matter?
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah,
rough,
the
really
subject
rough.
matter. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the thing is, I have been like someone knows I tend to be a lot into World War I, World War II documentaries, and I don't know why I've always been obsessed with it. I've looked at so many movies based on those things, and the idea with the Nazi hunter organization and
Mm-hmm.
the Fourth Reich and stuff like that. This has always been an idea, a concept that has been documented in actual documentaries where the Third Reich didn't survive, but the Fourth Reich did. Because remember, a lot of the Nazi members did escape to Argentina and Chile and all those places. And there was proof that they tried to revitalize it. In my opinion, the Nazi regime never died. And we're still experiencing the after effects of those things up to this day. So I think that is why I had a like and an attraction to the series with the whole Nazi hunter thing and that kind of stuff, spy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I really got into the series and I enjoyed it a lot, a lot. And I mean, there's Al Pacino. You can't go
Er,
wrong with Al Pacino.
Yeah,
Well,
playing a German, by the
you
way.
can when the movie's Jack and Jill, but
Oh yeah,
we try to put it on.
let's
Oh god.
no, well, some let's pretend that Jack and Jill didn't
Never
happen.
happened.
Yeah,
But
let's pretend
Although
it never happened.
to be fair, Pacino might be the best part of that film.
it
True,
was. It was.
true.
I mean,
Any scene he was in, we did
Sammy
laugh a
Adams.
little bit more than usual. But yes. And
Yeah.
the last one on my list is the Osbournes Want to Believe. Um, is basically I don't know how many people know this, but Jack Osbourne, the son of the famous Ozzy and Sharon Osbourne, is
Mm-hmm.
actually a paranormal investigator. He has his own series actually, Portal to Hell, I think is the name of the series, and he actually wanted to get his parents like involved in something similar, but remember his parents have aged. So they're not going paranormal investigating with him. So the only thing he could have come up with that would have been a little fun and entertaining so that the audience could see Ozzy because they haven't seen him since he got diagnosed with his sickness is to show little clips of events that could be paranormal in nature or maybe could be alien in nature because he explores both paranormal and alien sightings as well too. And he lets his parents choose on a particular scale from 1 to 10 how believable it is what they're seeing, you know? So it's pretty fun because, the Osbournes, they have no lid for their mouth, so there's a lot of cussing. And then, like I said, it's just fun and you get to see a lot of different video clips and you get involved in the game too and thinking, I wonder if that's real or what could cause that. It's
Right.
just something interactive that I thought is pretty fun,
Mhm.
and it's barely half an hour episodes, so
Right. Right.
it was just something that helped me get through this year a little easier.
Hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
okay, okay.
yeah, so those are my top 10 TV series.
All right, nice, nice, nice. Well,
Yep.
well, solid list there, right?
Hmm.
So, now to jump into just quickly, movies that, I should call them honorable mentions as well too. But yeah, movies that I wanted to see this year, but COVID,
Yeah.
right? So let's
Right.
run through them quickly
Oh, boy.
in alphabetical order, somewhat. A Quiet Place Part Two.
Oh
Right.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Whap whap.
Yeah.
sigh.
I know.
Black Widow,
Oh yeah.
boy. Oh my
sigh.
Another
God.
sigh here.
Yeah.
It's
Thanks,
gonna get
Matthew.
worse,
Thanks.
guys.
Thanks,
We
Matthew.
need, I think we need
Right.
violin music in the background while this list is
You know.
going.
Yep.
The price is right order.
I agree.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
The
I
price is
just
right
want
order.
yeah, boom, 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 wow. One in particular that I was genuinely excited for, but it was just off the trailer alone, The
Yeah.
Green Knight.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I love that trailer. That's one of the best trailers of 2020, hands
Right.
down. I saw it, I was blown away. I told, like I said in my
Yeah. 2-4.
review, if Ken Russell was still directing films, this is how he would make a medieval fantasy look. He would make it look surreal and crazy. But I just loved everything about it. I was excited to see it. And in general, I haven't got my A24 fixed for the whole year. I
Mm.
know they were talking about First Cow, but I haven't gotten around to watching that as yet.
I have to see that movie. It's on my list still of movies I have to see.
Yeah,
First
but I
Cow.
haven't got my A24 fix.
Oh,
Sorry. Ricardo and I, we are A24 fans. We have been loving a
Yeah.
majority of
oh,
their work.
yeah.
But
Okay.
their horror branch is pretty amazing too. So
Yeah.
I
It's summer.
enjoy them as
Love
well.
that.
Yeah.
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 Speaking of horror, sorry, Cece, I had to bring up Candyman, boy.
Oh.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rough.
Had to bring that up, boy. Oh my God, wanted to see that so bad. You know what I mean?
Oh gosh.
Uh,
I
to an extent, even though I wasn't that big on seeing it, but the concept was pretty interesting. Free Guy with
Yeah.
Ryan
Yeah.
Reynolds.
Yeah.
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 Eh,
Even though I felt the
Yeah.
second trailer spoiled too much, but whatever. It was
Yeah. I'm glad I didn't see.
uh,
I feel like the second trailer, I was definitely feeling like this is like I'm not the saddest about that one because the second trailer was giving me very big, oh look, a Ryan Reynolds movie vibes
Right.
more than like
yeah.
the concept. But yeah, I still would have at least liked to know if it was any good.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. And I remember them saying, "Oh, it's coming out in theaters early December," and then afterwards, like, nope. It's either early December or November. One of those 2 months. The French Dispatch.
That's
Yes.
God.
Yes.
dude. I
Big one.
listen.
Yep. Very big one.
Finally,
Yeah, I know.
back. I'm so
That that
I
dropped,
was so ready for that movie. Like you would not believe how ready I was for that.
inject directly into my veins.
Yeah. One that I wasn't like excited for, but I was curious all the same. The King's Man.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
wanting to see that.
Oh yes, yes.
Yeah.
Primarily because Rasputin looks like Alan Moore, so I was like, why is Alan Moore acting? So,
Watch Alan Moore kick ass for like.
there you
Right?
go.
Has anyone ever tried to get him to play like I don't know, like a cameo in something? I know he hates
Can
movies,
you
but
imagine getting Alan Moore to do anything?
right,
Anything.
Just
I
He
when
would. He
Alan
would do
Moore,
anything.
I feel like Alan Moore is the kind of person that someone like David Lynch or Jim Jarmusch would have tried to get in a movie at some point.
Right.
Yeah, he's like, nope. Two more to go. I would have loved to see this in IMAX. Well, sorry, the last two shows I wish I could have seen in IMAX.
Yeah, the big one.
Top Gun, Maverick.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
that was supposed to come out this year
Right.
too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm actually wrong. It's actually 3 movies that I had. But yeah, one is Top Gun, Maverick. The second one, Fast and Furious 9, way.
I know.
I
You know,
want to see that.
we get. I was expecting Kazan this year. We can get no Kazan.
You know,
I am so going to use that now. I'm just saying, Kazan.
love that trailer. Wanted to see how Han came back.
Right.
All that
Yeah.
all that we wanted to see, but
Justice for
Yeah.
Han,
no.
man.
Yeah, justice for Han, right?
Yeah.
And last but not least, the one that was a
The big
real
one.
punch in the gut by No Time to Die.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you
That
miss
one
the big one.
Yeah.
You forget the big one. You talk about you forget Dune.
Oh my
Oh,
God.
all right. I was gonna bring up
God.
Dune, but okay. I'll
Thanks,
reason why I didn't bring up
guys.
Dune is because yes, I do want to see it, but because I'm not familiar with the world of Dune, I haven't
Okay.
watched the Lynch film as yet. I was going
Okay.
to because
You
I thought it was going to come out this
have-
month, but it didn't.
Right.
You
But
have,
And I
yes, you're
suggest you
right,
check
Ricardo.
out,
Dune was one that was on my to watch list, but
you
you know,
have plenty of time to read the book
Yeah,
now.
you have plenty of time. And I suggest
Well,
if
damn
you
you.
what you should do is check out Comic Book Girl 19. She does a fantastic she has what she call book club, and she does one on Dune, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's really well done.
okay. So she just pretty much kind of runs through
A
what the story
thorough
is, right?
run through. So it's like multiple episodes, but it's so well done. You feel like you're reading the book right there with her.
Okay. I'm gonna go check that out for sure.
Yeah.
All right, but yeah, though, those movies, you know, they hurt me. They depressed me. I wanted to see them. They would have been on my best stuff list. Maybe one would have been on my worst stuff. Who knows? But
Who knows?
hopefully
Question
next year we'll see them. Hopefully.
Yeah.
Ideally.
before we move on. Speaking of Top Gun Maverick, is the first one worth watching? I haven't seen it.
Oh, it
Yeah.
is. It's very
It's-
much a product of the 80s,
You're right.
like in
Yeah,
every
but
way.
it's fun.
But it works. It's actually a rather successful blend of because you know like back in the 80s, once you have something that involves something moving fast like cars or whatnot, you
Right.
call it action. So like if you look at it, you'll see it's an action film, but it's not really. It's kind of action, kind of adventure, kind of drama, kind of romance, but somehow they just blend all that and it just works.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I do love Days of Thunder, so maybe I'll.
Okay. Well, if you saw Days of Thunder,
no, but Top Gun, no.
right? No, if you saw Days of
Me
Thunder, you know
personally,
what
yeah.
Thunder like it. Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah. But CC just breeze for the 80s, no, sir.
Okay.
Breeze for it. Breeze for it.
I was so tickled. One of my friends made a Tango and Cash joke about the Mandalorian, and
Oh, Tango.
Right.
Tango and Cash. One of the best cult films ever.
I'm the one that introduced them to Tango and Cash, and so I was like, I have done my dark work. Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Here's my contribution to birth control. That's that.
Oh my god. Please, no, Hollywood, please don't remake that movie.
No,
Never.
Right?
Never.
Right?
God, I hope not.
Don't remake Tango and Cash.
Never.
Leave it
It's
right
like-
there. Leave it. Leave it.
It's like when Dwayne the Rock Johnson was threatening a remake of Big Trouble in Little China, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh God, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't remake
I
that.
love you, Dwayne, but
John
no.
Carpenter would have come out of retirement and say, no, no. All right, so let's move on now to the worst of the worst way. Summer and Alice, do you have a worst of
Oh, yes, I
with that?
Yeah, and actually, I'm now gonna get some backlash for my last addition to the worst of list. I'm kind of scared. I'm scared.
No, yeah, I know what it
It's a
is.
safe
I know what it
space.
is.
It's a safe
I
space.
know what it
I'll-
is too. Yeah.
I'll start my worst love. Just a quick 5. I only have 5.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my quick worst stuff for the year is stuff that I thought would have been good. One of two of these you saw before me, Matthew, but I went to see just to give it a chance. And yeah, and I'm not sure if anybody else see it anyway. Anyway, so first bad of the list, Scoob.
Oh God.
I was
Scoob.
I
Yeah,
was
yeah,
Scoob.
prepared for what
This
yeah.
Scoob
this
I got what
was
Scoob was trying to do, but it just felt
yeah,
so
Scoob was a
forced.
mess.
Like we have to be modern, guys. Let's be all
I
modern.
Yeah,
I don't know
yeah.
what this
But
was.
That's
modern
right.
we mid 2000.
No.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I didn't get it. I didn't get what they were trying to go for. A lot of it didn't work. And then the biggest disappointment was Tracy Morgan as Captain Caveman. Like on paper, I thought, wow, this would have been amazing. And then I don't know, they directed him terribly. That was as bad as Kevin Spacey, Lex Luthor. For me, it's really bad. Like you thought it would be
Right,
good, terrible. Um, Next one, Capone.
right, right,
Ooh,
right,
yeah,
right.
One of the biggest
and,
that's
yeah,
actually
Yeah.
one of my disappointments of the year because
yeah, big disappointment.
I mean
I will.
Tom Hardy put his all into it though, but just
Yeah,
the
it
story
don't
was
work.
so sloppy,
Well,
poorly
that's the
directed.
that's the depressing thing. It's not just Tom Hardy. Like Josh Trank legitimately tried with that
Try
movie.
to do something.
It's one
Yeah,
of those.
yeah.
It's one of those movies where you can tell that the person making it did not set out to make a bad movie. They just
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
missed. You
yeah,
know.
that's yeah.
Ugh.
This one you also saw before me, and I decided to give it a look. Well, New Mutants.
Oh
Nah,
boy.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
Hmm.
pretty bad.
Sad.
Yeah.
Sad.
Pretty bad.
yeah,
Waste my
that was
time. Sad.
disappointing. Yep, yep,
That
yep.
was
Yeah,
like a throwaway episode of
yeah.
like X-Men
Rough.
series.
all of
Yeah.
those
Yeah.
years of pushback and pushback and pushback and just
Yeah,
for like
For
nothing.
what? Yeah. It,
yeah,
it has one thing for me that works in that. One thing, and this is coming as somebody who was a huge fan of the New Mutant comic books, and that's Anna Taylor-Joy as Magic. I thought that was
yeah,
perfect casting,
It
and
yeah,
I
was.
thought she really brought to life what Magic would be as a live action character.
right.
Mm.
Everybody else, it's a total fail on every other
Yeah,
level.
real mess.
Yeah.
There's one of those things that they just had to just finally squeeze and then flush, right? That is. Um,
I know.
Oh my
And,
goodness.
they finally had to do that. It was just get out. That's enough for this.
Right.
This one hurt because I really was rooting for this film, but boy, it didn't work at all. Antebellum.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Ooh,
boy.
bad,
this was
bad,
Yeah.
bad.
this was rough.
Yeah.
Look, I love Janelle Monáe to death. I'm a girl, but now it didn't
Yeah.
work at all. It
Has
didn't
Yeah.
work.
one
It
of
That's
the
didn't work at all.
worst.
yeah.
What has one of the worst twist endings of 2020?
That's the
Yeah.
thing. It wasn't. It
It's
wasn't
not even
like
the ending. It was
like yeah,
like middle way. It's like
yeah.
midway.
True.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But it didn't work. It didn't work. And then the last one, well, this one I didn't know what to expect, but jumping into it, and I was expecting a quality, and given the hype and the hype cycle and all of the typical, book to movie hype cycle, you think, it was such a hype
Right.
and thing, but this movie is rubbish. Hillbilly Elegy.
Yeah,
I
Yeah,
very
haven't
no,
bad.
seen that, but I
Oh,
was
Yeah.
I haven't
hearing
seen that one.
bad things
this
about
was
it. But they say
basically.
Amy Adams was good. Was she good?
Eh, this was basically
Sure.
it was basically a white it was a well not really, it was a Tyler Perry movie for the hill
Oh,
folk.
wow.
That
Oh,
was.
that's wow.
Don't need
Oh,
that.
That,
Oh,
that's what
that
it was,
sounds like
effectively.
you just slapped the director with that one word.
No,
yeah.
but it was real, like ridiculous melodramatic. It was just so bad. It was so bad. And this is from somebody who, like, if you thought something like Green Book, like I don't like Green Book. On record for not liking Green Book, but this was way worse. Right? Like not even
Oh wow.
level of melodrama, and it was just so ridiculous. This is total nonsense movie. Anyway, so that's my worst for the year. I don't go out of my way to look for worse. So this was the stuff that I went in thinking it would be all right and kind of decent, and that was just a big waste of time. So yeah, that's my worst. Here, guy, no more worse for me.
Right. Well, I might as well just run through my top 10 lists, right?
Mm.
So number 10. Sorry, Summer. Sorry, Alice, but I didn't care for the Lovebirds at all.
Okay,
Could
nice.
not go into this.
The
This
what?
was Issa
Love
Rae,
that.
Kunali, I forget the surname. This
Oh,
was supposed to it's a
I,
rom com.
I
Yeah.
don't care. Yeah, it was meh.
Yeah, no, that
It
was
was meh.
okay.
I
Yeah.
didn't even remember that was this year. That's the
That
thing.
that's the
Yeah.
thing. No, but it was such a
Yeah,
disappointment for me, but because it's too great actors, great comedic actors that you have in this show, and
Mhm.
the story just couldn't find anything for them to do. It was just this bland, oh, we need to do this, or else we're gonna get killed, and blah 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 blah
Yeah.
blah, and all that kind of stuff. And I just
Yeah.
went, no way. Did not care for this
You know
at
what is
all.
a better version of this movie? Tina Fey and Steve
Date
Carell.
night.
Date
A
Night.
date night,
It's the same
yes.
movie. It's the same movie, but it's much at a better, a bigger level of energy, at least. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's true.
right. And now I think about it, this should have been number 10. This should have been my lowest, or should have been number one. But because I saw it way early in 2020, I just kind of forgot about it, right?
Hmm.
The murder of Nicole Brown Simpson.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
this was a
Yeah,
mess.
Yeah.
that was. Oh my
I heard this was
God.
pretty bad.
Horrible
I
That was
movie.
so
Yeah, I heard
low
it was
class.
bad.
It's the best way I could say it was low class. It was just terrible.
I didn't even
Yeah.
see it.
I'm not even gonna waste my time running through the story, but essentially it's the last days of Nicole Brown before she got murdered and all that kind of stuff. And it's this abusive guy, and it may or may not have been OG who killed her. Maybe it
Yeah.
was somebody else.
Yeah,
Maybe
we
he
don't
was
know.
possessed. This is where they're going for. Maybe the
Yeah,
person
no.
who was possessed. This is where we are. I'll
Yeah.
stop here before I get myself ahead. This is where we are.
Okay then.
Number
Wow.
8. Ashtray, bitch. A Fall
Yeah,
from Grace from
yeah,
Tyler
it was
Perry.
pretty bad. Yeah.
This movie was so like bad. It was funny at the same time, though. And as usual, well-established black woman meets a strong, attractive black man, and
Hmm.
everything is all good. And then she realizes that he's a psycho, and oh, now we need to kill him and all that kind of stuff too. And it was just cliche,
What the hell?
lifetime original series
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
But it's directed by
That's
Tyler Perry. And apparently, I think he took like about a few days to make, and it shows. It have
yeah.
some goofs in the actual film itself that you could
Yeah.
spot like a
And
mile away.
cup
Yeah.
Hmm.
of drinking.
And I'm like, why did you rush this film? You could have take your time. Like, even write down the script, take your time. Like, why you rush this for? To prove something? Like, well, you know what I mean? Everybody's into, everybody's on Jordan Peele, but what about me? What about my studio? And we got this garbage. Anyway,
Yeah.
number 7. Thanks to this, I didn't even get around to finish up the other two films in the well, technically the anthology.
Hmm.
Welcome to the Blumhouse, The Lie.
Right.
Yeah.
This was the
Oh,
worst
yeah.
one in this 4-part series,
Yes,
but
it was.
Yes.
Yeah.
this god awful story involving this girl who's supposedly kidnapped, and the parents trying to find out what's going on, and they're blaming this one guy because he tends to get angry pretty quick, and then the twist, as I'll call it, in the end is one of the biggest slaps to face I ever felt like for the entire year, boy. I didn't even gonna get to that because it's just insulting intelligence. Number 6. Netflix's The Last Days of American Crime, boy.
Oh my God. Yes,
This was
man.
the one that I just
Yes,
had to
man.
spill saying how bad it
Yes.
was, right? And it's from the
Yeah.
guy who gave us Taken 2 and 3. Yes, Oliver Megatron. That's
It's still working.
yes.
Looking.
Yeah.
And he
It's,
put off this
Why?
god-awful slog of a film involving, this what was it about? I think it was,
It
trying
was
to get rid
everybody
of
was gonna
criminals.
get, yeah, everybody was gonna get basically fitted with there was a signal gonna be sent out, so it's gonna be impossible to commit crime.
yeah.
So they have like 24 hours to commit crime, and a group of jackasses get together and decide they're gonna rob somewhere somehow, and it's terrible. It's
Yeah,
what did Ricardo say? Just squeeze it out and get it over with. It was just
yeah, that's what it is,
Yeah.
boy.
It
And it
was not a
tries.
particularly good film.
Yeah, and it tries so hard to be so edgy, boy. We gotta
yeah.
be like Guy Ritchie. We have to have these over the top characters who talk big and cuss hard and pull out guns when they're ready. And we have to have everything be all violent and brutal. I mean, I'm not against violence and brutality in like action films, as long as
Yeah.
like everything is established and warranted. But no, here it just felt like they just tried way too hard, but they were working on that budget, so it's even worse now. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
it runs for about 2 hours plus, and I'm like,
Yes.
Yeah. I know.
why?
Yeah.
Number 5. We mentioned Nick Cage before. I had to bring it up here. Jiu-Jitsu.
Jujitsu.
I still haven't gotten to that.
Right.
I
Ooh.
still want to watch this with you guys. This is just this.
We really should. We really should. But this is how bad this movie is, right? I already did a video talking about the fall of the martial arts genre, right?
I
It's so
saw that.
bad, right? That to get people to actually watch this film, they cast Nicolas Cage. Process that for a sec, right? Your movie is that bland that we need Nicolas Cage to sell your film. And what it is just essentially, oh, every 6 years a portal opens and this alien warrior shows up to fight these people for no reason. And he just like always cuts their ass and like, okay, 6 years later, these guys show up and none of them even prepared to fight this guy. I'm like, what?
So long.
Imitation Predator, imitation, I don't know,
Mortal
the Raid, just imitations, just
Mortal
throughout.
Kombat and Predator mix up, but
Yeah, you're right. Mortal Kombat and Predator mix up. Why did I say the Raid? The Raid is an infinitely better movie than this. Number 4, as you said, Ricardo, the New Mutants. Boy, this one was bad, but it was bad. Like I say, it feels like a throwaway episode of X-Men because you think it has something to do with the world of X-Men world building. No, it's just a bunch of mutants in a house having to deal with demons, literally. Like their own demons come to life, and that's it.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's the story, and nobody cares. Number 3, a movie that I actually watched when it came out on Netflix the Friday. This was around the time when quarantine began, but and I sat there and I felt like my brain was just oozing out of my ears. By Coffee and Kareem.
Oh,
Oh,
God.
oh yeah, right.
What?
Yeah, this
Oh,
is pretty
yes.
bad. Yeah. I heard this was pretty bad.
Jesus, the kid who plays Kareem.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
If I see him though, I just
Yep.
want to pull up my belt and just beat the shit out of this guy.
I'll hold him down for you.
Seriously.
Obnoxious for no reason. He is vulgar for no reason, and just
Yes.
I'm this chubby black kid, so I'm just gonna be as crass as I want to. And then we
And
have Ed
disrespectful
Helms,
too.
just his career just deteriorating even more, trying to be I'm the stocky white
No,
cop,
yeah,
and
that's the thing, eh?
your mom,
Yes,
and mom by the
Ed
way
Helms.
played by McGill Taraji P Henson. She is
Yeah.
better than this. She's better than this. Yeah, Ricardo.
No, and help salvage himself because of in a thing I'm gonna mention in one of my best of the year. Well, at least some honorable mentions for the year. But yeah, this year's a mess, dude. But your career going good. Don't worry about it. But
Oh, okay.
Um,
I think I know what you're referring to, but at the point in time, I was like, Ed, what you doing? What you doing?
yeah,
But yeah,
maybe what
last thing I'll say about this movie, 5 minutes in, 5-10 minutes in, I was reminded of a little movie from 1993 called Cup and a Half.
Right.
Featuring
Yeah,
Will-
yeah.
Yeah.
That is a terrible movie, folks. You don't want to remember that shit. It's one of those shows that's forgotten for a reason. For
Mhm.
that movie to pop up while watching this, yeah, that's all I'll say. Number 2, the Secretary Ricardo, Antebellum.
yeah, but
What was this? You know,
Yeah,
you
no,
had
it didn't
Janelle
work.
Monáe, and
yeah,
you had a
it
pretty
didn't.
interesting story about
I did-
slavery and
yeah.
the injustices and all that stuff.
Yeah, it didn't.
Yeah.
It really
So all I
did.
was saying is this: just because Jordan Peele could take social issues affecting the black community and make a sort of a horror spin in it, doesn't mean that anybody could. I'm sorry.
Right.
I don't want to
Yeah,
take
nah,
something
the
as
thing
big
is,
as slavery.
I don't know.
and couldn't even do it
As I
justice.
say, it's a movie I want to defend, but I really wanted to like it, but it just didn't gel together. And I feel bad for the two men, the two fellas who's doing this. It's like us. I get all they do it and all they now come out, relatively new out of film school, at least they
Yeah.
started their career, but boy, it just didn't come together. It just
My
didn't come
God.
together. Sorry to say it.
Yeah.
It zig where it could have zag,
You
unfortunately.
know? And that
Yeah.
twist ending, wherever it was, right? Oh my God!
Yeah,
I saw it. I just wanted
No,
I just wanted to
there's
smash my laptop, boy. I was like,
Nah,
oh,
it's one of those. It's one of those. It's one of those. Everything sounded good on paper. Like because when you're
Yes.
watching this, it like if I was in a pitch meeting with them, I was like, yeah, but that's all good though. Just execution, Joe.
execution.
No,
was
and-
Ideas over
but
execution.
Here's the thing.
Ideas over execution.
Anything that evokes the village, you should stop and take pause. Like,
I was studying.
it's a good idea.
I was studying.
This is a good
That's
idea.
Ow.
Yeah, it was
That
rough,
is a
it was rough.
truth.
That
Yeah.
is- Oh my god.
And number 1, I
Mm.
thought you were going to bring this up, Ricardo, when you're talking about books being adapted to film.
Yeah.
CC, you know what I'm going to talk about? Artemis Fowl.
Yeah.
Oh wow! I
Oh,
forget about
I
this.
didn't
The
even-
worst
I didn't
movie
even-
of 2020.
I forget about this completely.
Yeah.
I did not
Lord.
either.
The bar was set incredibly low with this
Yeah,
one.
wow.
The lead who
Rough.
plays Optimus was
Oh my
just bland as hell.
Yeah.
Colin Farrell, what are you doing? Why are you in this show? The whole
Yeah.
premise I thought was going to be dope. Like, oh, it's going to be this modern take on European
fuck
folklore.
is?
So
Yeah.
leprechauns and fairies and all that kind of stuff. And it's just, oh, well, I have this safe in this house, and I just want this this leprechaun or whatever it is fairy chick to come to open it up, and that's the adventure. I
Oh,
needed somebody to open a safe in my house. That's the adventure,
it's
right?
so it's so
I'm done. I'm done. That's it. Worst
Well,
movie
I
of
mean,
the year.
it's so disappointing because like the book is dope. Like the book,
Okay,
the first
yeah.
few books
Right.
are dope, and then like what I hate is that when you read the behind the scenes, the reason the movie ended up the way it was because they bought the rights because it was a popular book, and they bought the rights back in the 2000s when it was
Right.
hot off the presses.
Right.
But then they hesitated because they weren't sure if people would vibe with the premise. And
Right.
I'm upset about that for two reasons. One, you bought this book. You bought it's too late. It's too late to worry about whether it'll sell now. And two, it was a bestseller. You know people like it already.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that was
Oh, I
Rough.
forgot to mention one more thing in terms of atmosphere though. It did give me an incredibly like unintentionally hilarious performance by Judy Dench, who's trying to do the best Clint Eastwood. What we need to do, we need to go over there, we need to like she's just talking to this like low voice and it's laughable.
Was it worth the nightmare fuel of Josh Gad unhinging his jaw and farting soil
Yeah.
out? On
Yeah.
No, that legit, folks, is frightening. It is rated PG, and I was freaked out when I saw that. Like, on God, it was horrible. But yeah, Artemis Fowl is my pick for worst movie of 2020.
so bad.
Alice, take it away. What are your picks for worst films of the year?
Okay. And these are, well, mine not in any particular order. All right. Um, my first one is Gretel and Hansel.
Yes.
Yeah, I
Really?
had a lot of
Because I heard a couple of
expectations.
people say was
I
that
didn't have an
that
expected. I
good.
thought it was.
About it.
I thought it was a solid spin on it, and I thought the
Right.
acting was good enough to keep. It kept me invested till the end, so I liked it.
All right, but still, Alice. Well, I mean, I would have gone in with expectations high because of the quote unquote praise it got. But yeah, tell us what's wrong with Gretel
Yeah,
and Hansel.
to me, I thought it was too existential. I mean,
Right.
to me, Gretel and Hansel, it's a kind of a morbid story, a fairy tale that you tell kids, and you grow up with the story, right? But I don't know. I think maybe they tried to make it too adult in nature, and it just lost me. It just totally lost me.
Right.
I didn't have to be so existential and try to be creative with it like that. I would have liked to see just a normal Gretel and Hansel movie, which
And
we
you have
never
that.
got.
No, we have that. It stars Hawkeye and who's the other one?
Oh God, that girl from
Now
that
that I
place.
still think that's a poor
What is Hansel and
representation.
Gretel?
Hans like
Witch
Gretel.
Hunters or something?
Hey,
Which one? Yeah.
Yeah, I
That
still think
was
no, that's a
stupid.
poor representation of that story too.
That movie
So
was
in my book,
stupid.
I've never gotten a Hansel and Gretel,
I,
Gretel and Hansel movie as yet in my book. So that one was just disappointing. And I had high hopes because of the actress, because it's this girl from It.
right.
So, like, nope. Another movie that didn't do it for me was The Hunt. I
Okay.
disliked
Wow.
everything about that.
Yeah, I give it a 2.5. Like I
I think it was
saw what
just
they were trying to
typical.
do, but it
It's
just didn't
it's
stick
it
the landing for me, especially
it
the end
it's
No.
was like
actually there's a lot about it I liked. It is in my honorable mentions, but yeah, I could understand why people wouldn't like this because
Yeah.
it does a really bad cop out at the end. Like that at the end, what they do when they reveal what she
Yeah.
about is like, there's a big cop out if you're doing this big like political thing, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, a little bit. But
Yeah.
I enjoy the action. I had fun with the action, so that's why I enjoyed it.
I had fun. I think the thing is, I think people built it up to be more than it was.
Right.
I've seen 100 horror movies with a very similar premise. So
Right.
all I sat there to do is enjoy the horror comedy that was unfolding before me.
Exactly.
And for
Right.
me, that's
Right.
what it did. It
Yeah.
delivered on that. So
That's why I
it's
didn't have a
neither
big
good nor
problem.
bad for me. Yeah.
But because
Yeah.
it has a sort of bullshit like weight and politics
Yeah,
nonsense
I
around it,
didn't
and that
care.
is what kind of kill it.
I left all that at the door, and I just enjoyed it for what it
Right,
was.
right.
Yeah.
Me too.
Right.
Anyway,
It
yeah.
was just, I don't know, it was just a bit too much for me. The brutality of it and so on. I mean, I'm a horror lover, as you know myself, some, but certain things I just draw the line at, and I just couldn't make with this movie. So that's
Right.
why it's on my worst of list. Um, and I agree here with my third one on the list, which is Coffee and Kareem with Matt. This one is just that was all kinds of nonsense, and like Matthew said, by the end I just wanted to take something and smack that boy upside his head because it was just disrespectful to the point of being gross, and it was just ridiculous. It was not funny at all. It
Right.
was just irritating, like nails on a chalkboard irritating.
Hmm.
Another one, I had a few here that was very similar to Matt in terms of Last Days of American Crime. Um, I wanted to like this movie because I'm a big fan of Edgar Ramirez, but
Right,
this
right.
year just was not his year. The last good movie that I saw him in was The Wasp Network. After that, all the other ones he had released this year wasn't so thing, with the exception of him being the annoying cop in The Undoing, as I told you, with Nicole Kidman and Hugh Grant. That movie, yeah, that movie was just a whole lot of nothingness, and the ending was
Right.
ridiculous. Um, the other one on my list is the rhythm section with Blake Lively.
Mm.
I
Okay.
heard about it early this year, but yeah, I heard reviews were rather negative towards it.
Yeah, yeah. Really, really and truly, it did start off promising, and I did start off liking it. But as the story started to develop, I was like, no, no. And they tried to put a twist in there, but you could have seen the twist coming a mile off, and no, it just didn't settle too well with me though, that one. So, and the other one on my list is The Lie as well.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah. I
Yeah.
don't need to go into
I
too much
didn't see this.
development of that, but
I didn't see this. Yeah.
That's Dame Helen.
it's just wrong in terms of how the whole
Stupid.
thing. Yeah, the whole story is just, I don't know. They make these
Hmm.
teenagers seem to be so maniacal in their plans, and it's like, are teenagers really that maniacal? It's just, I don't know.
But the
It
thing is,
was
she doesn't even come across as maniacal. She just comes across as stupid.
stupid and
When
spoiled.
maniacal, there's a sense of intelligence when you use that word. Like
Right.
there's some
True, 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 true.
True,
some
true.
Like
actual
Yeah,
thought that
all
went into
alone
your
is not.
planning.
yeah, yeah. That's so true. The other one on my list is Antebellum.
Yeah.
Mm.
So what
Um,
I'm getting from all of you is I shouldn't watch Antebellum. God,
No.
for sure.
Or you could watch it and see how not to do a Jordan Peele movie.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
Or
That's
just
sad.
stick to Get Out and Us. Those were the best.
Yeah, for real, for real.
Because Us messed me up badly and gave me nightmares.
Yeah.
I
No,
need
it's
to
all
watch
good.
over us too, because there's a lot that
Yeah.
went down there that didn't pick up the
Yeah, yeah.
first.
That
Yeah.
layers.
I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
really like us here.
And my last movie that snuck itself in the list of 2020, and this one I'm afraid to say,
Bum bum bum
um,
bum 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 bum.
Yeah, may I play the
Yeah,
theme
yeah,
song? May I play the theme song?
Wonder Woman 1984.
Wow.
Yes, yes.
Oh my
I'm
god.
being brave
Was
here and doing this because
real brutal though.
Yeah, that
I
is good stuff.
I
Yeah.
kind of I think it had some okay ideas, but yeah, it didn't
I
gel together. But I
watched
couldn't
that
point it out
last
worse.
yeah,
I
no,
watched
it like
last
I posted my review for it just before we came on to this podcast, and like I said in my review,
uh,
after I watched it and during I watched it, I felt like they took a knife to my gut and twisted it the way that I
uh,
felt after that movie,
Yup.
because
just
That's how you
the
felt
first
with
movie
that
for
movie.
me was
Yeah.
literally a 10 out of 10, and
so
it was
good.
like having to it was like,
Damn.
oh, listen guys, Wonder Woman is my favorite superhero.
Right.
I
Mhm.
and idolizing the superhero, and then the thing about it is, as I said in my review, and Summer was witness to it as too. When they announced that Gal Gadot was Wonder Woman, I was not happy. She was
Right.
witness to it. I told her that, and I was like, all right, you know what? She always tell me, listen, give it a chance. Give it a chance. I gave it a chance, and I loved it, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, that's Wonder Woman. So I had great expectations, maybe too much going into the sequel, I don't know. But I felt like it just crashed and burned for me, guys, and it was sorely disappointing. And it was literally the only, after so many blockbusters, like what Matthew pointed out, we got disappointed this year that weren't released because of the pandemic. I
Right.
felt like, hey, we got a Christmas present, right?
Yeah.
We get all
We
Wonder
got
Woman
gold,
for Christmas.
guys.
It was like unwrapping a can of peas or
Cool.
something like
You
that.
get
And
cool.
yeah,
Not rough. Not rough.
seriously, I felt like I got kicked in the gut, guys. Seriously.
No,
Wow.
I watched it last night. A friend loaned me their HBO Max logins, and I watched it
Right.
last night. I'm still fuming. I didn't know
Yeah.
that people were nostalgic for Richard Lester's Superman 3, but
You know?
apparently,
Yes.
apparently,
Lol.
Yeah. Yeah.
oh,
It really did work. It really did work.
It didn't work. It didn't work. If you guys want to see like how I really ranted and stuff, you could check out my review at Dark Alice Reviews on it to get a little more detail on it.
I still I didn't hate it as much as other people did, but like, people really hate this though. Like it's super problematic, eh? Like it have all these little things that like was this
Don't
reference to the wall in Egypt? What's that about? And then like wait,
Yeah.
she basically just possessed a man and had sex with him against his will because guys, basically what's going on there? Like it incredibly strange, yeah? But like I didn't hate it, but people like real dogging on this boy. Wow. I didn't expect this to make
That
it till
thing,
this.
Ricardo,
Wow.
to deal with the wall of Egypt, that is theoretically impossible because of the wars that going on right now with
No, that's-
Palestine and stuff like that. So
Exactly.
it
That's
makes
that was
no
also
sense.
That's also super problematic about the whole thing now. Like,
Yeah.
wait, what you have opinions about Palestine, so why they put a scene in here? It's weird. It's some weird.
It made no
Especially
sense because this is a war
Anyway,
that's
yeah.
been going on for years.
Yeah,
How
yeah.
is that theoretically possible? You know?
especially since that whole side quest to Egypt could have been achieved without them leaving the United States and without bringing in needlessly problematic material. Like,
Yeah,
oh my
yeah,
God.
yeah.
Yeah, I think it
Yeah.
was more to deal with the fact that it wanted to introduce the invisible plane.
The jet,
And they
right.
just wanted
Yeah,
an
yeah.
opportunity
To
to
use the
see,
jet, right.
see fly and to
But the thing
introduce
is, you can still stay in the States, you know, just have him go to LA or something, you know. It's like, oh, wait, whatever.
just let them say, hey, it's July the 4th. Let me take
Yeah.
you for a ride in a plane.
You know?
Yeah. All right.
Something
Anyway,
like that,
so,
you know?
rough.
So
Yeah,
that's
Tracy,
why
Tracy,
Wonder Woman.
we're incredibly sorry for dumping on this show.
I listen. I will when I speak, we will have that discussion.
Yes, same here, Tracy. Same
But
here.
in the meantime, I
We're
understand.
sorry.
I understand what you
We'll
people are
come back
saying.
around, Tracy. I'm with you on that one.
All right, cool. No problem,
Yeah.
no problem.
Love discussion.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, Tracy, do you have any worse?
I have. Well, I was scribbling down to see if I really did have anything that I could qualify as the worst. The only things that I can think of as the worst, in general, one is Batman death in the family because I
Really?
Really?
so here.
It wasn't,
Here's my
it
thing.
wasn't bad.
I have
mean,
seen.
the stuff was kind of
I can't because so I've seen. God, I'm seeing it floating in my head now. There's the other one that came before it where we actually got to see Jason Todd, killed
Wait.
and
Did you
all
watch?
that stuff.
Did you watch the straight one or just the one with the branches?
So here's the thing. I tried to get my hands on the interactive one, like direct.
Okay.
And that turned out to not be plausible. So what I ended up getting was the straight story, which
Yeah,
was like
straight story
45
yeah,
minutes.
yeah,
of-
that's
sorry,
yeah.
sorry.
Yeah,
And
that's
yeah,
straight
and
story.
then-
Rubbish.
And then when I went up on YouTube, because
Right.
everybody posts everything on YouTube, so I
Right.
went up on YouTube and they started to show me some of the side pieces. So like I
Right.
got to see like
Right.
when Jason makes the alternate decision and kills Joker in the diner.
Right.
I was like, okay, that But I honestly, at that point in time in my life, I was like, no, I don't inherently need this because we've done this in terms of Under the Red Hood. For me,
Right.
was like the story to say how Bruce coped with it,
Right.
how Jason dealt with it. If there was any possible way that we could have turned that scene in Under the Red Hood where Bruce is explaining to Jason inside the old abandoned house after he captures Joker why we don't kill, why we don't do anything of the sort. So the idea of them coming out now and saying, "Oh, we're going to do Death in the Family and it's going to be an
Right.
interactive, choose your adventure kind of something,"
Right.
that on the whole for me was just not happening. So
Okay.
that was one.
Okay. All right. So I
Mhm.
understand your position now because yeah, the straight story sucks, and I understand your take on it because it does do a lot of revisiting to
Yeah,
Under the Red Hood. But to me, when it did its own thing, it was actually pretty good. Like I thought it
yeah,
had a lot of like
yeah.
cool little branches, but it only had like about 2 or 3 branches that was really good that we didn't see before and didn't really fall into the narrative that we understood. But yeah, so I can
Right.
totally understand
Agreed.
your call here. All right.
Mm.
Uh, and the second thing is well, because we were talking about Life Day and stuff like that based on my memory, and then let me go back and watch it again. I am going to put back um, the original the original Star Wars Life Day special on the worst because I simply cannot.
See
I
what you did there.
simply
See what you did
cannot.
there.
Oh Lord.
So that goes there, and then I have a slightly humorous version of the worst in that there's this indie show called 2020, and the plot lines were deeply horrible. We started off with fires, and then we had murder hornets and disease, and the writers for it was all over the place. Nobody knew what the hell was going on. They come back again with ending of the year with something about a new strain of the virus. That
Yeah,
show
yeah, yeah.
sucks.
Trash,
Zero
trash
stars.
writing.
Trash.
They
Yeah,
also,
yeah.
Uh,
I
so
saw that show. They you also like to drop plot points for no reason, like the whole
like
murder
Yeah,
hornets
this,
thing. For
what
that,
the
yeah,
they
hell was that about? And then they came up
yeah,
with monoliths and
yeah, yeah.
want to be dictators, and it's like
Like
what?
J.J. Abrams writing this, so good.
I
like
said,
like
Dan.
the writers room for 2020 tried to introduce us to aliens like 3 times. Like
Yeah,
Three
yeah,
times, and
exactly.
and because of everything else that was going on, that whole subplot and I was waiting for that to come back and materialize.
Mm,
Yeah, it's like that. That's shit. So 0 stars. So that's
right.
it for my worst in terms of those three things. I have like some stuff that fell into honorable mentions because it was like I'll watch once or twice and then done. But I'll get to that later on. But that's it for me in terms of the worst.
right.
All right. CC, do you have any
Oh,
worst
oh boy.
movies to share with us?
So I was checking over my messages, and I watched over, as I said, I watched over 400 films this year. Is what I
Yeah.
did. Is what I landed on. So what? And here's the thing: as 2020 wore on, it was a combination of I started this year completing my degree at a film school in Los Angeles. I ended up home and stuck at home for several months for the pandemic. I came to grad school here. So the upshot was with all of that, I watched so many movies. Oh my god. Oh my god. But not I could probably count on one hand all the films I actually watched this year. So as with my best of list, this will not be best films that came out this year. This will be or worst films. This will be worst films I saw this year.
Right.
Uh, I'm starting most recent and going backwards, and my number one worst is going to be divisive, and I will need you all to let me explain it a bit. But just kind of starting and going back, The Recall from 2017 with Wesley Snipes, the one that's just kind of the generic teens in the woods in a
Yes.
cabin,
Yes, I
aliens.
saw that. Yeah.
Mhm.
Right.
That I was expecting at least a junky good time, but no, that one was just awful. Clint Eastwood's Jersey Boys from 2014. I
Mm.
think
Okay.
Yeah, I heard bad
That was
things
pretty
about
bad.
that shit.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that
I
was
Yeah.
pretty
think
bad. I remember that being pretty bad. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think I finally found the turning point where Clint Eastwood's movies just stopped mattering.
Right.
Honestly, because like
All
Jersey,
I to me it's American Sniper, but yeah,
right?
you could go. Yeah.
I need to see that one. But Jersey
Yeah.
Boys, oh god, he's the worst. He was the worst director for that material.
Yeah.
2012's Lockout, starring
I vaguely remember this.
Right.
Pierce.
Yeah.
That was the
I saw that and forgot about it.
Yeah.
I watched this one out of curiosity because I know there was the whole lawsuit where John Carpenter was suing Luc Besson because he claimed it was
Right.
basically plagiarizing Escape from New York.
Right,
So
right,
I
right.
watched it out of curiosity, and I'm like, I mean, outside of basically ripping off Escape from New York, it's
Yeah.
just bad. Like, it's just
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
the,
Okay, I know this. Yeah.
just the most generic,
I-
paint by
I-
numbers, unenthusiastic action movie.
Yeah, and I
Yeah,
remember. I
yeah.
remember being like, wow, this is where the director of Fifth Element reached by. No.
Oh boy.
Right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
Yeah,
Right. Yeah.
yeah.
then I have Drive Angry with Nicolas Cage and
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, that was on my stuff for 2011.
I
Yeah.
wanted that to be like an Evil Dead pulpy good time, but no,
Yeah.
it's just it's trying too hard. It's trying so hard to be like shocking and obnoxious, and there's so many fun ideas, but then so many ideas that are just like trying. As I said, just, it feels like an immature movie. Like it feels like it's trying way too hard. It's like sophomoric in its sense of humor and like what it thinks is cool. And it's like, let's have a scene where Nicolas Cage fights off bad guys while also having sex. And I'm like, who wrote this? Was this like a gang of 13-year-olds? Like, what the hell? Michael Mann's Public Enemies from 2009.
This was
Yeah, I heard of how bad that was.
I used to love
Fall of Michael Mann.
I used to love Michael Mann, and I watched John Milius's Dillinger last week, and I'm like, wow, this is how you do Dillinger, because his Dillinger, like Michael Mann's Dillinger movie, is just bland. I mean, the high frame rate kills it, but even if you took that aside, this is a weak script, and no one really. It feels like it's very telling to me that all the special features for it are like, hey, we showed everyone how to use the guns correctly. And I'm like, great.
Right.
Did no one punch up the scripts?
No, but when he did that hacker movie with Chris Hemsworth, it was like, wait,
Oh,
boy.
God.
It's like, this is Michael Mann, director
This
of Heat, director of Collateral, last movie cuts.
Manhunter? Like,
Yes, Dread. What? Yeah, no, it was rough.
it's the fall. It's the fall of another great.
Yeah.
This one was bad. I actually laughed my ass off watching it, and we got into a discussion because, like, my partner and I were having having a discussion about Dutch angles, and they were joking and deliberately misidentifying Dutch angles. So I'm like, okay, I will definitively show you what a Dutch angle is. So we watched Battlefield Earth for the first time.
Right. Of course.
Yes.
That-
Myself, Ricardo, and Summer, we
Yes.
took in that as one of our bad movie lines.
Oh
Yeah,
my
it's
God.
a really bad movie.
That movie, like, it's one of those rare bad movies that even when you go in and you know how bad it's going to be, it still finds ways to surprise you. Like, you can see people review it and talk about it and meme it, but you still go in and you're like, wow,
Right.
that was a strange and very incoherent creative decision that no one told me about.
Yeah.
Oh, God. I think Summer will appreciate this one because of a comment I heard you make earlier. Kevin Costner's Wyatt Earp movie.
Oh my God. Yes.
I remember the reception
I
at that too.
remember that. Yeah.
Jesus
It was
Christ.
terrible.
3 hours of, like, I mean, and I'm a big Tombstone fan, but I'm also big, and I love Tombstone. But then I remember that Lawrence Kasdan, like, original trilogy, Lawrence Kasdan wrote and directed a Wyatt Earp movie. And I'm like, okay, how could this be bad? And then I watched it on Netflix, and I'm like, wow.
It's like the biggest sin you can commit as a film is being boring, and it's like it's so boring.
It's so boring. It's dull. It reduces the characters. They are flat.
Yes.
I have no idea whose idea it was to turn all of the wives of all of the Earp brothers into like this collective of nagging hens the whole time.
Right.
That it seemed to only exist to be like, don't run off and get shot at. While Tombstone really took the time to flesh everyone out as characters a lot more, at least in comparison. This next one is an obscure. Now we're getting older, so this is 1986. This is obscure, but Tough Guys from 1986. This was supposed to be a last hurrah movie for Kirk Douglas and oh goodness, the actor he partnered with most of the time.
Seagull?
No.
I vaguely remember Tough Guys.
You know the guy I'm talking about. Like he and they did.
Burt
Lancaster.
Lancaster, yes.
Oh,
Lancaster.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Tough Guys is supposed to be a kind of last hurrah because Burt Lancaster and Kirk Douglas play these two mob guys who get out of jail and they're trying to adjust to the world, but the whole thing is just the derp. It's funny because they're old and it's the 80s and derp, and like I watched this whole movie and I'm like, someone is really worried about not being able to keep it up as an old person because there are too many like old person sex jokes in this movie. Like, good lord.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dude, man, there's a whole like I kid you not. There's an entire subplot where Kirk Douglas's character gets this like young hip girlfriend, like this much younger girlfriend. It's weird.
Right.
And like they imply they have lots of sex, like so much it wears him out. Like he wasn't expecting it, derp. And I'm like, I'm uncomfortable, I'm bored, I'm upset. This was the last film that Burt Lancaster and Kirk Douglas did together. Like,
Yeah.
Oh boy. And then Eli Wallach is also in here as a bad guy for no reason, like just randomly.
Wow.
Like, oh my god. And then number 9 is from 1953, Pony Express with Charlton Heston, which was one of the 2 films I saw this year that was everything that everyone claims Westerns are, but true. In like one movie. Like it's like like Pony Express is like, I don't know. It's like, because like there are plenty of Westerns from the 50s that actually hold up, and there's one I'll get to on my best of list. But Pony Express is just like a parade of outdated opinions about women, outdated portrayals of Native Americans, a thin plot, a lot of like very, very like swaggering tough guy 50s Americana crap, and it's just like, and it's a movie that's not even it's just over an hour, but it feels so much longer than that. Like it just goes on and on and on, and you don't care. And then I hated it. I absolutely hate it. Like it's one of those movies where I'm like, anyone that's like it's one of the few movies where all of the criticisms that people level against Westerns is true. Like all of them somehow at once, and I don't understand how any movie could achieve that. And then the worst viewing experience I had this year, and this one will need a little explaining because, oh boy. The James Bond franchise.
Up to what film?
Yeah.
I decided this year, for some reason, that I was going to try and watch all 25 James Bond movies.
Okay.
Yeah, well, No Time to Die will be, technically it's 25th, I think, right? Whatever.
And I'm not saying that every single one was the worst film I've ever seen. Like there were some that were worse than others. There were some that were better. Like I my favorite is still License to Kill. Up there was also what was the not Spectre? One of the last, the one that came before Spectre is like one of the last Daniel Craig ones.
Skyfall.
Skyfall, yeah.
Skyfall is excellent.
Yeah. Skyfall and License to Kill were both phenomenal, and I love both of them. But most of this franchise, like I watched it, and I'm like, I went into it being like, I know it's gonna be pulpy, I know it's gonna be like campy 60s. Like this is the kind of movie that something like The Man from U.N.C.L.E. is homaging, and I'm like, okay, I'm ready for this. We're on film 5, and I'm like, is this hits? Is this like the same rinse and repeat formula over and over with? And what was baffling to me in particular is that I can forgive films for having outdated content, and just any media. Like I own a lot of the like original Robert E. Howard Conan the Barbarian. I know all about outdated content, but like what I found so egregious about Bond is that by the time we get to the 90s, all of the most outdated parts of the franchise have almost become part of the series' DNA. Like they've become part of its identity almost. And at that point, I'm like, someone needs to shake this up because we can't be like mid-90s Pierce Brosnan Bond and still be doing like very 50s portrayals of everyone from anywhere on the planet.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, you're right. So, yeah, no, it is one of those franchises that suffers from that problem because Bond was always considered for lack of a better term, the kind of the elite. We're gonna do this the best kind of thing. Oh, it's James Bond and he's so special.
Yeah.
And what it does, but some of the worst Bonds end up chasing trends, but the ones that end up doing its own thing and you know doing an okay job with it, I don't really mind. So I still defend Casino Royale. I love Casino Royale.
I love Casino Royale. Yeah.
Right.
Well.
I love the one with we Trinidadian boy in it. Oh gosh.
Jeffrey Holder.
Jeffrey Holder.
Live and Let Die.
This is
Yeah.
Live and Let Die.
Right.
That's the first Roger Moore film. Which I
That's
actually
probably my
enjoyed.
favorite because of how hammy it is.
That's complicated.
No, it's intentionally hammier. CC, it's intentionally hammier.
Right. But yeah, I do think it is. I've mentioned this before, and even with the Daniel Craig Bonds, it is very quintessentially 20th century. It relies on you being part of the Cold War. All of these people who come up with time in the Cold War and really like you don't know, like you see, like my big selling point was the gadgets and lifestyle and you know this is not a time when lifestyles of the rich and famous, that bullshit, and oh look, he go in a hotel spending the night casual.
Yeah.
Like
that's why they go to all these fancy places, right? That's always been
that's why.
right?
Yeah, exactly. So I totally understand where you're coming from in this sense, right? I still love a lot of the Bond franchise, but yeah, a lot of the Bond franchise don't work out.
Like,
but the thing about it is age like milk.
And like of the Bond films, the four that I had the hardest time like getting through, like some of these were ones that I have never not finished a movie. I always watch a movie all the way through, but these four tried my patience so hard. On Her Majesty's Secret Service.
Right.
George Lazenby.
That's a subversive one.
While it is regarded as one of the best because of the ending and how different it was from the
exactly. It was a subversive one.
It is rather slower. It is rather
slow to get through to get there. Octopussy from 1983.
Octopussy, but I kind of like it. Well, merely because reason for me.
I kind of like it. It's hammy. It's very hammy, and it's very much a product. It went through that whole, the AIDS scare and everything. So it was a very how to put it, neutered version of James Bond. Yeah. But yeah, there's aspects of it that it stuck with me after all these years. So, but License to Kill is my favorite as well. As well as Casino Royale. And I still think GoldenEye is solid.
GoldenEye up there for me.
I need to read
well, for me with Octopussy is that this was around the time where I felt that Roger Moore's films were starting to wane, and even he himself was like, I think I get too old for this stuff. So this to me was like the last good one, and then we had a View to a Kill, which I didn't really dig at all, even though we had a dope little theme song to go with it, very 80s, very mid 80s and whatnot. I think it was someone who did the song, but other than that movie was horrible.
And then the last two that I hated were The Man with the Golden Gun.
Yep.
Oh yeah, everybody hates it.
Everybody wanted this one.
Christopher Lee, and just a boring, confusing mess from like one end to the other. And then the one
Lee and his
three nipples.
Oh god.
Magic nipple.
The one that was probably because the one that I hated because on paper I thought I would like this.
Right.
Because it's because this one on paper I thought I would like it because it was a throwback to the most pulpy of Bond, but I still hated it. Was Die Another Day.
Oh my god.
No, Die Another Day is one of the worst. Die Another Day is one of the
If you look at it as a so bad it's good movie, you'll actually kind of like it. It's one of those movies.
Die Another Day. I literally take Die Another Day less seriously than I take Austin Powers. That's how bad Die Another Day was. It's really bad.
By the way, CC, sorry to cut you there, Ricardo, but CC, we talk about the whole the infamous surfing scene.
Which one was that again?
With Bond surfing,
No, that's Die Another Day. When he surfs the Is it like
yeah.
a tidal? Yeah, tidal
Oh
wave.
God! Oh my God! Oh,
That's one of the worst scenes
da-da-da,
ever in a Bond
and he
film
comes over the
franchise.
wave. I'm like, no, I'm
Yeah.
done. I'm done.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
But yeah,
it's a
Ronnie,
That's
you
super
you
Finish
pulpy.
though.
It's a super pulpy movie, right? Like
I
Yeah.
ridiculous.
love
But no,
pulpy movies.
yeah, but it don't work.
One of my favorite superhero films of all time is The Shadow. I love
Right.
pulpy movies,
Yeah, me
but
too.
Right.
Bond push Die Another Day pushes how much I love pulp. It really tests me.
Yeah.
And of course, to make it worse, it has the worst Bond theme song, like
It
easily.
does. It
yeah,
really
I
does.
mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
everybody was
It's
in
just
awe of
literally Madonna
was still in
singing
love with like
Diana.
everybody still loved Madonna at in the 2000s.
Right.
Yeah, that was the end of that.
song.
It's
No,
one of the worst songs.
And like
no.
Madonna doing a Bond theme should have been great on paper. Like
Yeah. On paper. On paper. Yeah.
like
Mhm.
I mean, her Dick Tracy soundtrack is one of the highlights of that movie. But
Right.
Oh yeah,
but good grief, her Bond soundtrack is awful. And it's
Yeah.
like I will say one highlight. I will say even the Bond movies I hated or whatever. I feel like I pretty consistently always loved the Bond theme songs and the Bond opening themes. I will
Right.
say. They were
Right.
movies that like even something like Live and Let Die, which I'm very mixed on.
Mhm.
I love that opening sequence. That whole
Right. The Paul McCartney. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
oh yeah, the Paul McCartney
That,
song,
that song is awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
all the imagery, it's everything. Oh, it's brilliant. But yeah, though that was my bottom 10 of the year, and
Right.
with number 10 being the 25 film franchise that I managed to slog my way through in like I think it was
Right.
3 weeks. I think it only took to get through those, but yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah,
Yeah.
it's one of those things that because no one had a sense of an institution in film, like it's a sequel and it's the same character over this period of time, and all of that
Right.
little stuff is the reason why it got away with a lot of the bullshit it got away with. But yeah, no, I totally understand where you're coming from because to watch you Daniel Craig films flounder in its own way. Like I love Casino Royale, but then Quantum of Solace was a waste of time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Skyfall was okay. I don't love Skyfall as much as other people, but it was like, all right, I could live with this. The problem is that it's basically the same script as The Dark Knight, so whatever. And
I
then,
like it better than Dark Knight, but that's just
right, but it'll fit with a Bond. And then this last movie, the last one was so rubbish. For me,
Or Spectre. Yeah.
Spectre,
Yeah.
like
It's that
yeah.
we
when you
were
find out,
excited. It's like, oh my god, Spectre
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Blowfield, and then it's just
No,
Blowfield basically doing the same stuff he did in the 60s. I'm gonna tell you
yeah,
my plan, Bond, while you're tied up.
Good.
Then I'm gonna
It's
leave the
actually
room, and then when you come back, you're gonna escape, right?
no, they did the Lost Brother bullshit.
the whole Lost Brother thing. That's
Yeah,
where
oh
it is. That
God, I was like,
Yeah,
enough
but
of this.
like
I know.
I did
Uh,
not find Spectre like egregiously bad, especially compared to the rest of the franchise. I feel like at that point I was a little relieved to be done. But at the same time, there were some stupid ideas.
No, they start.
Yeah.
Well, you see, again, much like with long-running franchises, you expect it to evolve, right? So I expect some nonsense like that back in the past, back in the 1960s or whatever. You could have do some bullshit like that. You can't do that in 2000, past 2010 or whatever. What the hell? And I just came to the conclusion. It's like, yeah, sorry, the James Bond franchise just can't evolve. It just cannot evolve. It's something that just it's so tied in with the Cold War that I can't see it going forward. That's why I appreciate Casino Royale. It felt like it was trying to do something interesting and evolve now. It make reference to 9/11, it make reference to the war on terror. At the time, that was a big issue and it made sense, putting that in the script. So like, all right, cool. But boy, rubbish shit. Like,
Yeah.
Oh,
absolutely.
Hopefully,
I can't see the
next year.
franchise evolve. No, I say I can't see the franchise truly evolving, really. Not really.
no.
Yeah.
Like
Well, hopefully, come next year, we'll see if it can or will with.
No, here's
Terry.
why I'm really doubting it is because they're bringing back villains. Like, wait, they
Right.
brought back
Oh,
they bring back
yeah,
villains
they bring him back.
and Rami Malek as
Javier.
I'd have
Bardem's
about
character.
yeah.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
But they bring him back, but they brought back the villain something. So they brought back Blofeld, and it's like, wait, so he playing Blofeld now? So why bring back this? Let's evolve the character with time. I don't need to have it be the same continuity, whatever it is. Just have it be like, oh well, it's a MX6 agent. He kicking ass. Come up with something now, and they're not doing that.
That was the issue with Daniel Craig films, especially from I would say from Quantum of Solace Go Up. It felt like it was just like this restart now. Like we're gonna do
exactly.
over the Sean Connery Bonds. So we're gonna bring M into this, and we're gonna have the gadgets here, and we're gonna do everything again now.
Okay, the two characters I could get, the three characters I could allow is M, Q, Moneypenny.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Them three. You can't do not bring back Blofeld. Do
And one
not
of the
bring
things
back who playing? Who Rami Malek supposed to be playing?
I think Malik's supposed to be playing Doctor No, right?
Doctor No,
I
right?
hope
He has
Yeah.
another
Yeah.
name, but we all suspect it's probably no.
Hmm.
You're right. Why bring
Uh,
back Doctor No for? That don't make any sense in today's world. It's like that don't make any sense. Come up with something new.
well,
Come up.
and I will
They
agree.
can't do that.
I will agree 100%. The biggest crime I have with this franchise is that this is literally one of the longest running film series ever.
Yeah.
Ever. I can't think of a single ongoing film series that has been running as long as James Bond. The first one was like the 50s, and the most recent one we're getting next year. I can't think of a single series that has been going on that long, and yet they kind of refused to evolve at all, or like one of the reasons I like License to Kill is like it actually feels like it evolves the character. It deals with his violent streak as almost like a darker side of him, which is something I really thought was clever and like something that like it gives him a vicious streak, but treats it as like something that he tries to keep under control with the whole suave thing. It has him going rogue from the agency, which I really appreciate. Like that was a really intelligent touch. One of the reasons that I hated, I think it was From Russia with Love, is that I really thought is that the film set up that it would be Bond having to team up with a Russian agent, and like and the opening set her up as like his parallel, right? Like his opposite in Russia.
Right.
But then once they get going, it's woman driver jokes. It's eventually they have to bang. It's all of, and I'm like, come on, you had
I had a chance here.
You set yourself
The thing
up.
is, so the other film I do like the second PS film. That's Tomorrow Never Dies, I think. That's with Michelle Yeoh.
I dug that one.
Yeah, solid action movie, solid premise. The whole you're contriving your own news thing. I thought that was a cool idea.
Oh yeah, that one.
Was that?
That one's also got like the biggest Hong Kong influence, right? That's one with Michelle Yeoh. Yeah.
Yeah, Michelle.
Yes, Michelle Yeoh was in it.
But no, as I said, I just the only way for me for Bond to truly evolve is it just have to straight up like just address its own like colonialism and post-colonialism implications. That's the only way like they could do that. The only way they could go. Like, hey, why does this guy exist in the way he does, and what's going on with MI6 and their relationship with, say, the Middle East and Africa, or something like that. I can't see them doing anything else. Since the Cold War done, you can't make the franchise evolve in any interesting way. Sorry to say it. But yeah, Claude, don't fully disagree with you with that one. It's actually a good point. Yeah.
All right, and now we're back to other movies that adds Bond films, right? I mean, honestly, I wish that we got No Time to Die today because we would have had a nice chat about because really, and I want to bring you into the CC. We could talk. We was hoping that we could talk about the older films, well, all the other films prior to it, and then kind of see how this one kind of holds up to it. But
you know what? I agree.
Well, there's next year for it, I guess.
You want to do that? You want to do that when No Time to Die comes out? I am on board. I'm a reflective Bond expert now.
yes. Of course, everyone else, Summer, Alice, Tracy, you all are welcome as well. You're invited as well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Summer, your top worst movies list of 2020.
Okay, I'm just gonna rattle them off. My number 10 was The Turning, which thank God for The Haunting of Bly Manor, because this version of The Turn of the Shrew was bland and boring. My number 9 was Like a Boss with Tiffany Haddish and Rose Byrne.
Ooh, yeah. I heard about that.
Forgettable. My number 8 was The Grudge, which was disappointing because they looked like they were going much darker, and sadly, it was just a bunch of nothing. My number 7 was the movie that requires you to be as high as a kite to even slightly enjoy it. Hubie Halloween.
Wow.
I knew that was gonna end funny.
My number 6 is The Last Days of American Crime. As you guys have already covered, it was just terrible. My number 5 was Artemis Fowl.
Yes.
My number 4, the movie that made me want to punch a child in the face, Coffee and Kareem.
Yeah.
My number 3, complete waste of Tony Jaa and the weirdest camera angles I've ever seen, Jiu-Jitsu.
There's a POV fight scene. You see you see the guy's arms moving about, though. I'm like, why?
Right.
Anyway.
My number 2 was a movie called Chick Fight. This had the potential to be like a female hangover type of thing, and I never liked Malin Ackerman, and I still don't like her. She's the lead here, and
Not
she
even
gets
in Watchmen.
completely lost. Yeah, big head.
Okay.
Yeah, she has a
Okay.
huge big head, and I don't know. She annoys
No,
me.
she does. She does. She have a big ass head, yo.
And my number one was the most boring film, the most boring horror movie I've seen in decades. A movie called Smiley Face Killers. It was I don't know what the hell that was. The killers didn't appear until about 87 minutes into the film, and the movie's about 92 minutes long.
What?
Um, yeah, and it's like you guys have seen Jeepers Creepers too. You know that director has some issues when it comes to
Oh,
filming
Yeah,
kids. You know,
yeah.
in their underwear and stuff
So
like
weird.
that. I don't know.
mm.
Topless. Yeah.
This director was so focused on filming the lead's abs and having him bareback that I was uncomfortable watching this movie. So it was boring and it was weird and it was the worst thing I've seen in 2020.
Right, right. I think the reason why I kept pushing you away, unintentionally, of course, is that you mentioned New Mutants. Now, so in my head, I was like, oh, you know, New Mutants was your pick for worst, but I'm
Yeah.
surprised that it didn't even show
No.
up on your
It
top
didn't
ten
even
worst
make a
list.
that didn't even make a blip on my radar because I have a list of the most meh films as well, and that's a meh film for me. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, in terms of me, right? Well, as far as disappointments of 2020, I got this actually from Ricardo, right? You know, he always have these what do you call them, boy? Glorious failures or something along that
Yeah.
line. Yeah. So in my case, it's just a show. It just so happens, sorry, a movie. It just so happens to be Capone. Yeah, I mean, I saw what Josh Trank was coming with, boy, but Tom Hardy, boy, you're better than this, boy. And it's just him just being this really crass version of an Al Capone, and it's almost to the point like you could almost swear like he's just being made fun of, right? And the ironic part about the movie is that people are just gonna take away how over the top his performance was, and yeah, just say, oh, he's the worst thing about the movie. But no, it's just really the script and just the direction and where they went with the story. But this was a huge disappointment. I just want to mention three TV shows as well that really disappointed me. Season 6 of of The Flash. I
Mhm.
Agreed.
don't know
Yeah.
what went
Agreed.
on, but
Yeah.
just convoluted storylines for the sake of it. It went nowhere for me. The season finale, which I know they had to cut the season short because of COVID, was terrible in my opinion. Just so anticlimactic. Same thing for Supergirl season 5. Really didn't
Yeah.
care for this one at
Yeah.
all. Just went
Mhm.
all over the place.
I gave up on
It had
Supergirl
Lex Luthor
after
being
during season 4. So yeah,
yeah.
I'm done with that too.
Yeah, it practically had Lex Luthor being, oh, I knew you were going to do this, and that's why I did this instead. I'm like, bruh,
Yeah,
that's not how Lex Luthor works. Like, come on.
yeah,
Oh, he just thinks everything 10 steps ahead. No,
yeah.
Yeah,
That's
that's
yeah,
how
nonsense.
he
You
moves.
know.
Come on.
yeah. That's not the character.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Agreed.
And not
Yeah,
to
and
mention
last,
what they did with Lena Luthor's character as well too. It's
hated it.
like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
oh,
yeah,
oh,
you didn't tell
yeah.
me you
I
were
Complete
hate, sorry,
I,
assassination
I,
of
I,
that
I,
I, I
character.
I,
hate, I
Yeah,
hate Supergirl.
yeah. I don't think
yeah.
I don't think season 4 was all that bad. I actually enjoyed a lot of season 4, but this new season was rubbish.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it didn't
And
work.
last but not least, just to talk about the scraping the bell scraping the barrel in terms of superhero shows. Sorry, I had to see this way. Season 2 of Doom Patrol. This was a letdown
Ooh.
for
Ah,
me, but
this is an interesting one. That's
it
an interesting
it
call,
it
though.
dragged.
Yeah,
I
it dragged.
felt
Yeah,
the story just couldn't stay focused. A lot of navel gazing, way more than the first season.
yeah.
And yes, I know they had to cut the season short because of COVID, but it was just so anticlimactic. I was
Yeah,
just like,
I trudged
I
through
why?
well,
it as well. Yeah.
I felt the big problem with it was missing. Well, I know CC, I found him anymore, but it missed Alan Tudyk. Um,
Oh, real?
Mm.
Huh. Nah.
right, and
Yeah,
What
I
happened?
enjoyed I enjoyed him in season 1. He's what
Oh,
helped,
yeah.
kept season 1 together.
He's a lot of fun.
Sorry.
He's a lot of fun in season 1. I didn't know
Yeah.
he wasn't in the new season. I haven't seen it yet. I wanted to. Again, I only just got a friend's HBO Max logins, but
Okay,
I'm hoping to see this one.
okay, no problem.
right, right. Ricardo, do you have any disappointments? Oh,
No, I just had a list of my bad and I don't have any disappointments per se because I have stuff in my honorable mentions that just didn't make it. It had good things about it, but I didn't at the same time I didn't really want to talk about it, but it just good enough. I have no noble failure type things like that because
Yeah.
this year was just a blur for me and I couldn't think straight for
right. Yeah,
anything else. And I was
that's it. No, noble failure.
Yeah.
Alice, do you have any, noble failures? Like just stuff that just kind of flat out disappointed you, but you didn't really hate them as much. I thought you would have put Wonder Woman 1984 there though, but you didn't. But okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Wonder Woman came out so close to the end of the year, and like Ricardo said, this whole year really passed by like a blur with all the madness that went on.
I
So
know.
I really couldn't say there was any other bigger disappointment for me than Wonder Woman. It was just like I'll have like mere movies like how Summer will have, and they
Yeah.
just
Well,
barely made an
that's
impression
technically
on me.
what I mean. Well, okay. Well, I should kind of rephrase this. So yeah,
Hmm.
disappointments and meh films really.
Yeah, well, like movies not even worth mentioning, Matt. Like I really couldn't remember. Like I might have watched it and then just be like, oh, forget it, kind of thing.
Yeah,
That's
I
why I
understand.
came up
Yeah.
with the list here, and then I did a lot of old movie watching as well too, like
Mhm.
your friend also did, where I would just bring out like some old action movies with Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone, Rambo, those kind of things, and watch it to
Yeah.
pass the time. So there was a lot of that going on for me as well.
All right. Fair enough.
Yeah, yeah.
Tracy, any noble failures or meh films that you just kind of want to mention? Just stuff that kind of disappoint you.
Um, you know what? I was saving it for my honorable mentions, but I will throw in. Let me see if I can find it here. Second Born Royals. Um,
Right.
Second Born.
Oh.
Second Born Royals is okay. So it's Disney's version of Sky High meets like superpowers. You have those who are meant to be on the throne, and then you have like the second born and stuff who actually has like some secret superpowers, and then they have to go and save the world and all that kind of garbage. And for some reason, when it was coming out, I looked at it and I was like, "Ah, this could be comforting. This could be fun. This could be Sky High-ish." Didn't really turn out that much, and so it was just kind of like, "Nah," and then moved on. So I'll put that there. The rest of them will fall into like honorable mentions into things that I actually cared for.
All right, sure thing. Summer noble failures slash meh films you want to mention?
I have a huge disappointment. It's actually my biggest disappointment, and it was a television show, and that was Penny Dreadful City of Angels. I was
Oh
a
yeah, yeah. I
huge
heard bad things
fan.
about it.
Yeah, I absolutely loved the first Penny Dreadful run. I loved everything they were doing there with taking well-known horror entities and just giving it this wonderful gothic spin and noir spin to it. And then so
Yeah,
when
I,
they
I, I I saw it too. I checked it out as well. Didn't really like the end, the way how they ended,
No,
but I was like,
I didn't
okay.
like the end. I
Yeah.
didn't like the end either, but it wasn't enough to spoil the entire thing for me. So I was excited for City of Angels, a new mythologies and that sort of thing. Nothing happens in this series. It's one big well, America was racist back then. Okay, tell me something I didn't know.
Yeah.
And there was no mythology really. They had the this
Right, right, right.
de la Muerte spirit and her sister, and I kept waiting for stuff to happen with that, and nothing. There's absolutely nothing. There's one sister who's the she's like the saint of death, and all she does is cry and collect dead bodies. She does nothing for the entire run. And her sister is supposed to be like an entity of chaos, and she is there in the background, and she's played by this wonderful actress from Game of Thrones, and she was actually a really cool Moriarty in the television show Elementary. I'm trying to remember
Right.
her
Yeah.
name. Her only thing is she would just be in different people's lives, doing chaotic stuff, but that's it. There was nothing supernatural really going on, and I was bored for the entire thing. It was completely disappointing, and it's a completely different energy from the first one. So that was my biggest disappointment.
All right, fair enough.